The Axeman of New Orleans is a haunting figure that emerged in the early 1900s, captivating the imagination of countless people and leaving an indelible mark on the history of one of America's most vibrant cities. This mysterious individual, whose identity remains unknown to this day, operated in a terrifying fashion while the Jazz Age was blossoming in Louisiana, which adds an eerie undercurrent to the narrative. Picture the lively streets of New Orleans in the early 1900s, where the sounds of jazz filled the air and the city bustled with life. Musicians would often gather in clubs and on street corners, bringing the rhythms and melodies to life. But amid this vibrant scene, a shadow loomed large. The Axemen targeted the Italian immigrant community, specifically their grocery stores, leaving behind a trail of devastation that stirred fear and panic among the residents. The criminal's method was chillingly simple, yet brutal. Using an axe, he would strike in the dead of night, creating an atmosphere of dread that seeped into the hearts of the townsfolk. The victims were often found in their homes, marking a violation of safety and the sanctity of one's personal space. These attacks raised serious questions about the ability to protect one's family and home, causing an urgent sense of vulnerability. One of the most shocking aspects of the Axeman's reign of terror was his connection to the jazz culture that defined the era. In a bizarre twist, he left behind a letter that was addressed to the people of New Orleans. In it, he proclaimed his love for jazz music and expressed that if the city were to play jazz on a specific night, he would spare them from his axe. The letter rang with an unsettling mix of playful bravado and grave threat, embodying the unique juxtaposition of joy and fear that characterized the time. As the story of the Axeman unfolded, public interest surged and pop culture took notice. Jazz musicians seized upon the haunting tale, weaving it into their performances. Musicians improvised, expressing the tension of the moment in their melodies. This intermingling of music and crime culminated in a cultural phenomenon, inspiring songs that both celebrated the rhythm of life and the shadow of fear that cloaked the city. In response to the ongoing terror, the people of New Orleans developed their own methods of protection. Grocery stores began to reinforce their doors and windows, creating barriers against the intruder. The community came together, forming watch groups to patrol the streets at night, conveying a sense of unity against a common threat. In doing so, they fostered a spirit of resilience, determined to reclaim their city from the grip of fear. The police were under enormous pressure to catch the Axeman, but their efforts often felt futile. Investigations were hampered by widespread confusion and misinformation. With no clear leads or motives, the case became one of the most notorious unsolved mysteries in American history. Reports of strange figures lurking in the shadows or hearing unforeseen noises in the night added to the urban legends, feeding the anxiety and superstitions of the local population. But in an unexpected turn, the Axeman mysteriously vanished. After a series of attacks, the frequency of the incidents dwindled, and ultimately, there were no further reports. Speculations ran rampant. Had he left the city, or perhaps moved on to another place? This abrupt end left the community in a state of unresolved tension, unsure whether to feel relief or lingering fear. The legacy of the Axeman of New Orleans continues to resonate even today. Ghost tours and historical narratives often cite his story, showcasing the inseparable link between this figure and the rich cultural tapestry of the city. Each October, as the atmosphere turns cooler and the nights grow longer, the taint of unease resurfaces, reminding everyone of the bygone days of fear that gripped the city. Throughout the years, The Axeman has become more than just a historical figure. He is a symbol of a haunting narrative that intertwines music, fear, and mystery. The eerie juxtaposition of jazz and violence creates a vivid backdrop for a tale that is both chilling and captivating. It serves as a reminder of how closely joy and sorrow, safety and danger can exist together within the heart of a vibrant city. In conclusion, the story of the Axeman of New Orleans stands as a striking reminder of how history can shape a community's identity and cultural expressions. The blend of a jazz-loving criminal with the lively backdrop of New Orleans has continued to intrigue many. It's a vivid example of the complexities that reside within human nature and society. As we reflect on this enigmatic character and the impact he had, we find ourselves entranced by the horror and beauty of a time gone by, forever etched into the soul of this mystical city. In 1953, a shocking event gripped the nation, capturing the attention of the media and the public alike. The abduction of Bobby Greenlease, a 6-year-old boy from a wealthy family in Kansas City, was a tragic incident that revealed significant flaws in law enforcement and the effectiveness of kidnapping investigations during that era. Bobby was the son of a prominent automobile dealer and lived a life of privilege, ensuring that his family was well known in their community. On the morning of September 28th, young Bobby was taken from his school by a woman who introduced herself as a friend of his mother. This seemingly innocent encounter quickly spiraled into a nightmare, as Bobby was promised a trip to see a puppy, but was instead whisked away in a car. The cunning abduction began when the woman used a ruse, identifying herself as someone close to Bobby's family, which immediately put the young boy at ease. The naivety of children and their trusting nature were exploited, marking the beginning of a case that would unfold in shocking ways. Within hours of the kidnapping, Bobby's mother received a phone call demanding a ransom of $0, a significant sum at the time. The tense moments that followed saw the family scrambling to gather the necessary funds. Law enforcement agencies quickly became involved, with the FBI joining local police to form a comprehensive response team. This marked one of the first high-profile cases where the FBI played an instrumental role in the investigation. An initial strategy was laid out to recover the boy safely. But as days passed, tensions grew, and hope began to slip away. The investigation faced an uphill battle due to a lack of communication between various law enforcement agencies. Each department operated independently, which resulted in critical information being overlooked or poorly managed. For example, reports indicated that the ransom money was to be delivered in a manner that fed into the sheer chaos of the situation. Details surrounding the kidnappers remained unclear, and the methods used by authorities seemed outdated in light of the complexity of the case. As the search for Bobby continued, the case took a chilling turn. Tragically, it was discovered that Bobby had been murdered shortly after the kidnapping. The discovery was devastating to the Greenlease family and sent shockwaves throughout the community. The body was found in a secluded area, revealing a calculated and heinous crime that demanded the full attention of law enforcement. The aftermath of this heartbreaking event prompted significant changes in law enforcement practices across the country. The inadequacies of the investigation highlighted the necessity for a more structured approach in handling cases of abduction. Advocates called for improved communication, training, and resources for police forces that could better prepare them for responding to fast-developing situations involving children. In the wake of this tragedy, the perpetrators, who were determined to be a couple named Carl and Bonnie Hall, were swiftly arrested. The couple had masterminded Bobby's kidnapping and were driven by greed and desperation. They crafted a story that painted them as innocent, But it didn't take long for investigators to uncover the truth. The couple's motives were exposed, making it clear that their actions were fueled by a distorted sense of entitlement. Carl and Bonnie Hall were eventually put on trial, and their defense attempted to argue various points. However, the overwhelming evidence presented in court led to their convictions. The case not only delivered justice for Bobby and his family, but also opened a national discussion on the safety of children and the realities of criminal psychology. This case still resonates today, serving as a powerful reminder of the vulnerability of children and the changing landscape of law enforcement. It emphasized the need for vigilance and further training, moving forward from a time when such tragedies were seen as isolated incidents. New policies and protocols were implemented in various police departments, all aimed at safeguarding children and ensuring comprehensive approaches to investigation techniques. The legacy of Bobby Greenlease's kidnapping remains a crucial chapter in American history, illustrating the intersection of unimaginable tragedy and the need for progress within law enforcement. As years have passed, the story has continued to serve as an example of human resilience, societal awakening, and the collective commitment to improving safety for future generations. It is essential to reflect on such moments in history, not only to honor the memory of those affected, but also to learn from the past so that the future can be brighter. Through the lens of a heartbreaking tale like Bobby's, we understand the importance of community, the need for collaboration among various agencies, and the vital role that each individual plays in protecting the innocence of childhood. In the realm of audacious heists, few stories captivate the imagination quite like the Great Train Robbery of Japan in 1968. This meticulously planned operation not only highlights the cunning of its perpetrators, but also serves as a fascinating chapter in criminal history, leaving behind a trail of intrigue that persists to this day. Imagine, for a moment, the scene set in the quiet, early hours of the morning in the mountainous region of central Japan. The cool air is filled with anticipation and secrecy. A train, known as the Tohoku Shinkansen, is on its way, carrying a cargo more precious than gold, over 300 million yen, destined for bank deposit. The robbers, who had been planning this audacious act for months, were ready to put their plan into motion. The preparation for the heist was nothing short of extraordinary. The criminals took meticulous steps to ensure that their plan would not only work, but would also go undetected. They meticulously studied the train schedules and mapped out the route. They gathered intelligence on the railway system and the security measures in place, analyzing every detail to find weaknesses they could exploit. This level of planning would rival the operations of some of the world's most skilled thieves. On the day of the robbery, the robbers executed their plan with precision. Disguised as railway workers, they approached the train as if they belonged. As the train slowed down to navigate a bend, they created a false emergency, signaling the engineer to stop, under the pretext of a malfunction. With the train halted, they sprang into action. The robbers climbed aboard, overpowering the crew with a shocking combination of speed and ferocity. The operation was swift. The crew on board was taken by surprise, and within minutes, the robbers had secured their prize. They swiftly made their way to the cargo section where the cash was stored, stripping the train of its valuable cargo in a matter of moments. Imagine the tension and adrenaline coursing through their veins as they executed every move with military precision, ensuring that no alarms were raised and no lives were endangered. Once they had the money, the robbers made a quick escape, slipping off into the shadows of the surrounding mountains. They had left no clues, no fingerprints, and no traces of their identities. It was as if they had vanished into thin air, along with the stunning sum of money. The total haul was estimated to be over 300 million yen, an amount that would be worth even more today, making it one of the largest heists in Japanese history. In the aftermath, the investigation began in earnest. Law enforcement agencies were bewildered, trying to piece together the events of that fateful day. Detectives went over every aspect of the crime, tracing leads that often led to dead ends. The media buzzed with sensational headlines, and the public was captivated by the mystery surrounding the heist. How could such a brazen robbery occur without any safe leads? The robbers had outsmarted the entire system, and questions loomed large over the abilities of the police force tasked with solving the crime. Despite numerous investigations, countless interviews, and a series of theories proposed by both authorities and amateur sleuths, the mystery of the Great Train Robbery of 1968 remains unsolved. As the years passed, theories began to emerge regarding the identity of the robbers. Speculators suggested that the heist required inside knowledge, pointing to the possibility that someone with an intimate understanding of the railways assisted the robbers in executing their plan flawlessly. Over time, the robbery became a part of Japan's cultural lore, inspiring books, movies, and documentaries that sought to capture the essence of this mysterious crime. The Great Train Robbery has become emblematic of the hidden world of organized crime, a tale rich with suspense, dramatic twists, and the thrill of the chase. Although law enforcement made attempts to track down the criminals over the decades, the trail grew cold. The robbers seemed to have disappeared as mysteriously as they appeared, leading some to wonder whether they had successfully integrated into society, living normal lives, while perhaps secretly enjoying the fruits of their labor. There's a certain thrill that comes with imagining what life would be like for them, having pulled off such a daring act. In conclusion, the Great Train Robbery of 1968 is more than just a tale of theft. It encompasses themes of ingenuity, audacity, and the never-ending quest for justice. It raises questions about human nature and the extremes to which individuals go to attain wealth. The heist remains an enduring enigma, a story that continues to excite the minds of those who hear it, ensuring that it will remain a part of Japan's history for generations to come. Indeed, it is a fascinating narrative of daring exploits and unanswered questions, echoing through the corridors of time. In the early morning hours of January 17, 1950, an astonishing event unfolded in Boston, Massachusetts, that would go down in history as one of the most remarkable heists ever attempted. This incident would come to be known as the Brinks Job, a meticulously orchestrated theft that saw over $2.5 million vanish, leaving authorities baffled for years. The Brinks Armored Car Depot, located in a brick building that reflected the industrious spirit of post-war America, was the site of this audacious crime. The depot served as a hub for transporting and storing cash, handling large sums that were vital to the operations of banks and businesses in the area. Security in such establishments was typically tight, with armed guards and layers of protection established to deter anyone with even the slightest thought of theft. On that fateful day in January, a group of thieves, totaling around 11 skilled criminals, embarked on a plan that had been in the works for months. Each member of this gang brought unique skills to the table, weaving together their talents to pull off a heist that seemed almost cinematic in nature. They had gathered intelligence on the depot's routines, noting the schedules of guards, and observing how the armored vehicles operated. To the casual observer, they blended into the normal hustle and bustle of the city, yet beneath the surface, they were plotting one of the largest robberies in American history. The gang's ambitious scheme began with them parked their car nearby, and donning uniforms that resembled those of the actual Brinks employees. This attention to detail was paramount, as they knew that appearing legitimate would allow them to gain entry without raising suspicion. On the morning of the theft, they approached the building, and using confidence and their convincing attire, gained access to the inner workings of the depot. Once inside, they quickly overpowered the lone guard stationed there. This was a crucial moment, as it provided them the necessary control over the situation to carry out their plan. The gang efficiently restrained the guard, ensuring that he could not alert others to the unfolding situation. With their intended target's protection neutralized, they moved deeper into the facility. As they worked methodically, they located the significant cash reserves that had been prepared for transfer. Millions of dollars were stacked in bags that would soon become the objects of their labor. They loaded these bags into their waiting vehicles with impressive speed, revealing both their pre-planned strategy and their experience in executing such a high-stakes operation. The gang's meticulous attention to detail and their apparent familiarity with the depot's layout allowed them to act quickly and efficiently. Within a surprisingly short amount of time, the Brinks job was complete. The criminals faded back into the city, their presence scarcely registered in the minds of the unsuspecting public. By the time the theft was discovered that morning, the gang was long gone with $2 million in cash and nearly $5 million in checks and money orders. The enormity of the crime sent shockwaves through the Boston police and the FBI, challenging them to unravel the mystery of how such a bold operation could occur. As investigators began their inquiry, they uncovered a web of misleading clues, false leads, and the surprising realization that a well-planned heist could go off without a hitch right under their noses. Their efforts included interrogations and the examination of potential associates in the criminal underworld, and trying to piece together the elaborate plot that had allowed this theft to happen. Days turned into weeks, then months, and the trail remained frustratingly cold. Over the years, rumors and whispers began to circulate about the possible identities of those involved. Some leads fizzled out with little more than a name, while others seemed promising but led nowhere. The mystery of the Brinks job captured the public's imagination and soon gained its own notoriety as people eagerly followed updates regarding the investigation, wondering if the thieves would ever be caught. Despite law enforcement's exhaustive efforts, it would take decades for any significant breakthroughs to occur. Some members of the gang were brought to justice for other crimes, but the authorities struggled to connect them definitively to the iconic heist. Meanwhile, the stolen money seemed to vanish into the ether, making the case even more perplexing. As time passed, the Brinks job became a sort of urban legend, captivating everyone with the sheer audacity of it all. Interestingly, the story didn't end there. In later years, some of the thieves began to reveal pieces of the story, shedding some light on how they managed to execute such a grand plan. Their confessions added to the narrative of the heist, providing glimpses into the mindset of those who dared to challenge the financial systems of their time. However, the larger questions of complicity and the extent of planning behind the scenes remained unanswered. The ultimate fate of the stolen millions has never been fully uncovered, adding an additional layer to the already rich story of the Brinks job. As legends grew around this theft, it became almost mythic in its stature as a cornerstone of the modern-day crime narrative in America. The precise details of the Brinks job continue to fascinate both amateur sleuths and professional investigators alike, leaving an indelible mark on the history of crime. For many, this case serves as a reminder of what happens when intellect meets strategy, daring to execute a plan that many would deem impossible. Even decades later, the tale of the Brinks job resonates, a symbol of the enduring fascination with the art of thievery and the thrill of the chase. In the heart of Boston, nestled away in the Fenway-Kenmore neighborhood, lies a cultural gem known as the Isabella Stewart Gardner Museum. This institution is not only home to an extraordinary collection of art, but has also been at the center of one of the most notorious art heists in history. On a fateful evening in March 1990, two individuals disguised as police officers entered the museum and made off with 13 pieces of artwork valued at an estimated $500 million. The heist itself is infamous, but it is the strange correspondence that followed which has continued to captivate and perplex art historians, detectives, and enthusiasts alike. Years after the heist, mysterious letters began to surface. These letters emerged from anonymous sources and were delivered to the museum, prompting intense speculation and intrigue. Each letter shared cryptic messages hinting at the potential involvement of various individuals and organizations in the art theft. The content of these letters was laced with riddles and enigmatic language, often referring to historical events, art theories, or even local legends, which added layers of complexity to an already convoluted case. The Gardner Museum letters took a particular fascination with art history, and they seemed to be deeply knowledgeable about both the museum's collection and the intricacies of the heist. Some letters referenced the stolen works, such as Vermeer's The Concert or Rembrandt's The Storm on the Sea of Galilee, bringing back vivid imagery of the artworks that nobody has seen since that night in 1990. This connection to the stolen pieces gave the letters an air of authenticity, as if the writer had insider knowledge. Each letter would ignite a spark of hope that perhaps the stolen masterpieces could be recovered, yet they also deepened the mystery surrounding the case. Speculation about the identity of the letter writers ran rampant. Some believed they were the thieves themselves, confessing in an oblique manner, perhaps as a way to absolve themselves of their actions. Others considered the possibility that the letters were penned by individuals seeking attention, or even by someone with a personal vendetta against the museum. This venture into anonymity only served to complicate the investigation even further, transforming the letters into artifacts of their own within the larger story of the heist. In one of the more intriguing letters, an anonymous writer claimed to have insight into the whereabouts of the stolen artworks, but provided no concrete evidence, only a tantalizing suggestion that they would be made available for the right price. This notion of shadowy figures exchanging information hinted at a world of underground art dealings. It resonated with those who believed that the elite world of art theft is often shrouded in secrecy and backdoor dealings, where the stakes are incredibly high. The Gardner Museum staff were left both intrigued and frustrated by the cryptic nature of these letters. They chose to share some of these letters with the public, hoping that perhaps someone out there would recognize the writing style, or even possess knowledge that could lead to the recovery of the artworks. This engagement with the public turned the anonymous letters into a modern-day mystery that extended beyond the gallery walls, involving amateur sleuths, podcasters, and art detectives in a collective quest for answers. As interest in the art heist grew, so did the surrounding lore. The letters acted as breadcrumbs leading to intense discussions about art security, the ethics of ownership, and the murky waters surrounding stolen art. They encouraged a deeper dive into the world of art theft, inspiring both novels and documentaries that explored the Gardner heist's implications and mysteries. Art itself has a way of lingering in the collective memory of those who encounter it. The mysterious letters associate themselves with a long history of renowned art heists. The legacy of stolen art stretches back centuries, influencing everything from literature to film. Works like the Great Train Robbery and the Thomas Crown Affair echo these stories of intrigue and adventure, drawing parallels between fiction and the reality of theft, deception, and unresolved mysteries. In exploring the allure of the Isabella Stewart Gardner Museum's mysterious letters, we are reminded that art possesses an energy that transcends its physical form. These letters, cryptic and elusive, are a testament to human curiosity and the lengths people will go to understand the unknown. They compel us to ponder, not just the fate of the stolen works, but the very nature of art itself, its value, its meanings, and the stories embedded within each brushstroke. Although the mystery of the Gardner heist remains unsolved, the legacy of those letters lingers. They serve as reminders that the story of art is never truly finished. It entwines the past, present, and future, offering a canvas for speculation, wonder, and ongoing investigation. The Gardner Museum stands not just as a monument to exquisite art, but as an enduring source of intrigue, where the lines between reality and mystery blur, leading us into an exploration of what it means to seek understanding amidst the shadows of art and death. In the heart of Finland, during the vibrant and tumultuous 1980s, a wave of audacity swept across the nation as an elusive crew known as the Helsinki Crowbar Gang emerged. This notorious band of thieves gained notoriety not just for their skillful heists, but also for their uncanny ability to slip through the hands of law enforcement, leaving only questions in their wake. The Helsinki Crowbar Gang operated during a time when Finland was shifting socially and economically. With the growing prosperity in urban centers, crime was both a fear and, for some, an opportunity. As cities like Helsinki flourished, the crime rate began to draw the attention of local authorities. However, among the petty thefts, a more sophisticated and daring criminal element began to take root. The Crowbar Gang would soon become the stuff of legends. Their modus operandi was strikingly simple, yet effective. Armed with nothing more than crowbars, they targeted banks and jewelry stores, proving that sometimes the old tools can be the best tools. The gang did not just rely on brute force. They studied their targets meticulously. They would scout locations, analyze security systems, and choose their moments with precision. On numerous occasions, they would strike in the dead of night when the streets were deserted and the city was cast under a blanket of silence. One of the defining heists in the gang spree occurred at a popular Helsinki bank. They evaded the state-of-the-art security measures that characterized banking institutions in the 1980s. Instead of throwing their tools at the vault door in a desperate attempt, they used their crowbars to pry open less protected side doors and windows. This strategic finesse allowed them access to the inner sanctum of the bank, where they carried out their looting with almost surgical precision. What made the Helsinki Crowbar Gang particularly intriguing was not just their choice of tool, but their ability to disappear quickly after the crime. They had an almost uncanny ability to blend into the city's nooks and crannies, maneuvering through the interwoven alleys and back streets like shadows. Witnesses often described them as ghosts, appearing and vanishing without a trace. Many wondered if there was a hidden network that assisted them in their escapes, allowing them to evade the relentless pursuit of the police. Local law enforcement was baffled by the gang's cunning, which fueled a media frenzy. Stories of potential suspects surfaced, but much like the gang itself, they would dissipate into thin air. Police set up roadblocks and ran stakeouts, but found themselves outsmarted time and again. The Helsinki Crowbar Gang seemed to have an almost supernatural ability to predict police moves, always remaining one step ahead. Public fascination grew as tales of the gang's exploits spread. They became a cultural phenomenon, inspiring rumors and theories about their background and motivations. Was it sheer greed driving them, or did they possess a deeper ideological reasoning behind their choices. Some speculated that they viewed themselves as modern-day Robin Hoods, while others painted them as mere criminals with a flair for drama. It became a game for the police, media, and even the public, as people eagerly discussed the gang's next possible move, all while trying to decipher the mystery behind their motives. The heists carried out by the Helsinki Crowbar gang were undeniably impressive. They consistently racked in thousands of marks worth of riches, yet it was their artistry and theft that captivated the imagination. As they became more bold, their unique signature left a mark not only on the financial institutions they targeted, but also on popular culture in Finland. Songs, books, and even films began to take shape, inspired by the gang's daring antics. Yet, as with all tales of heroism and villainy, the apex was inevitable. Like flashes of lightning that illuminate a stormy sky, the gang seemed to vanish as swiftly as they had appeared. The last known sighting occurred in the late 1980s, after which their activities ceased entirely. Their disappearance left a void, a vacuum of ambiguity that continued to ignite speculation for decades. In the years following their abrupt exit from the scene, many of the details surrounding the Helsinki Crowbar gang became shrouded in folklore. Stories transformed into myths, and those who had been captivated by their exploits began to create elaborate theories about their fate. Did they retire on the proceeds of their daring escapades? Or did they encounter an unforeseen twist that ultimately led to their undoing? Today, the legacy of the Helsinki Crowbar gang remains woven into the very fabric of Finnish urban legend, a testament to a time when shadows danced through the night and adventure called from the darkest corners of the city. Their story is a reminder of the thrill of the chase, the intrigue of the unknown, and how, at times, the line between notoriety and publicity fades into obscurity. In popular imagination, the Crowbars remain. They symbolize a fleeting freedom, a spark of rebellion, and the ever-elusive quest for the extraordinary. In the realm of audacious heists, few stories are as thrilling as the saga of the flying bank robbers of Brazil. This gang, operating in the early 2000s, captured the imagination of a nation with their elaborate and daring daylight robberies. What set them apart was not just the scale of their crimes, but their innovative use of helicopters, transforming them into a sensation that baffled law enforcement and left many in disbelief. The story begins in one of Brazil's bustling cities, where traditional bank robberies were becoming too risky for criminals. Enter the Flying Bank Robbers, a group that decided to elevate their game. Their approach was unique. They conducted meticulous planning, often scouting for months before any heist. They studied the bank's routines, the staff, and even the security systems in place. Because of their detailed planning, they were able to exploit weaknesses in the system, surprising authorities who had never faced such a sophisticated operation. One of the most striking examples of their audacity was the infamous robbery in São Paulo. On a bright morning, as people went about their daily lives, the gang took to the skies. Using a helicopter, they swooped down on a bank located in a busy shopping district. Witnesses described the scene as a movie, with the helicopter hovering just above the bank, while the gang members descended via ropes, equipped with firearms and masks. It was a brazen act that made it clear they were not just thieves. They were orchestrating a performance that captured the thrill of the moment. As soon as the gang entered the bank, chaos ensued. They disabled the alarm system swiftly, a tactic that had been rehearsed to perfection. Within minutes, they had gathered a substantial amount of cash, but their planning did not end there. The escape was meticulously coordinated. Once they had the money, the gang members quickly made their way back to the helicopter, where a skilled pilot was ready for their escape. Just as quickly as they had arrived, they took to the skies again, leaving police and bystanders in shock. Interestingly, the use of helicopters was not just a means of transportation, but also a strategic choice. The aerial advantage allowed them to escape through the skies, avoiding the ground barriers and obstacles that would complicate their getaway. Many local authorities found themselves overwhelmed, as the helicopters were difficult to track and even harder to intercept. They had entered the realm of a new kind of heist, one that demanded an immediate reevaluation of security measures at financial institutions. As the media caught wind of these audacious robberies, the public became captivated. The flying bank robbers quickly turned into folk legends, their exploits discussed widely on social media platforms and news outlets. People were left in awe of their planning, precision, and sheer goal. Some even began to admire the criminals for their ability to outsmart law enforcement agencies that were supposed to protect citizens. However, the criminals left a wake of fear and uncertainty. Bank employees and customers were traumatized by the experience, and communities began to feel the impact of such bold criminal activity. Authorities scrambled to respond, intensifying their security measures and surveillance in financial districts. With every brazen robbery, the pressure mounted on law enforcement to capture these elusive criminals. Not one to shy away from the spotlight, the gang conducted another robbery in Rio de Janeiro. But this time, they introduced an even more audacious twist. Following the robbery, they announced their escape route over social media, teasing the police about their next move. This unprecedented level of taunting intensified the public's fascination. The cat-and-mouse game between the gang and law enforcement became a widespread spectacle. The tactical brilliance and brashness of the robbers were simply too intriguing for the press and public to ignore. Eventually, the tide began to turn against the flying bank robbers. After numerous successful heists, increased pressure from the authorities led to a coordinated crackdown. The police employed new tactics, including aerial surveillance, and engaged in strategic partnerships with other law enforcement agencies. It became a race against time as the authorities tried to anticipate the gang's next move, determined to put an end to their reign of audacity. In an unexpected twist, the gang members made a critical miscalculation during a robbery. While they had become comfortable with their methods, they overlooked important details in their plan. One fateful day, a well-timed police response disrupted their plans. As they attempted to escape, the heist took a dramatic turn, leading to the eventual capture of several key members of the gang. The flying bank robbers of Brazil left an indelible mark on the landscape of crime and security. Their daring exploits were not merely about stealing money. They represented a challenge to authority and the status quo. Their story serves as a fascinating reminder of how innovation can be used, for better or worse, to create remarkable, yet troubling, narrative. The gang's legacy remains a topic of discussion, captivating many with tales of ingenuity, audacity, and the consequences that eventually followed. The evolution of this criminal endeavor reflects not just on the individuals involved, but on the larger implications for society, authority, and the ongoing battle between law enforcement and those who dare to break the rules. In the heart of London, beneath the bustling streets, a fascinating story unfolds, one that paints a vivid picture of daring escapades and enigmatic figures shrouded in mystery. Let's dive into the tale of the London Tube Crypt Gang, a group of clever robbers who took their heist strategies to new depths during the 1970s. This was a time when London was vibrant with cultural revolutions. But lurking in the shadows were these ingenious criminals who used the sprawling subway system as their secret passageways. Imagine a sprawling network of underground tunnels, each one echoing with the sounds of trains dashing by, passengers rushing to their destinations, and the faint hum of city life above. The London Underground, known colloquially as the Tube, was not just a means of transport. It was a labyrinthine setting filled with opportunity. The Tube Crypt gang understood this better than anyone else, crafting plans that would leave law enforcement baffled and no one quite sure who was behind the audacious thefts. During that era, many banks in London boasted heavy vaults, ironclad, high-security structures protecting wealth and savings. But the Tube Crypt gang wasn't deterred. They meticulously mapped out the distances between bank vaults and the avenues of the underground system, envisioning routes that could lead them there with minimal exposure. Picture these robbers, equipped with tools and a keen sense of the city's geography, inching their way through the dark tunnels, driven by ambition and a thirst for adventure. One can only speculate how many hours they spent underground, scrapping with the debris and echoes that filled the air. Their craftiness came to fruition after several high-profile heists, leading to successful break-ins at some of the most prominent banks in London. They would appear like phantoms, slipping into the banks, collecting large sums of cash, and disappearing back into the depths of the tube, leaving authorities puzzled. Investigations followed, but the gang vanished without a trace, their identities cloaked in enigma. The allure of how they executed their operations remains part of the fascination. Reports suggest that they used tools to create precision tunnels that intersected perfectly with the vaults they targeted. With the bank's impressive security systems, their ability to avoid detection worked like a well-crafted heist film, filled with suspense and unexpected twists. Just like in the movies, there were misfires, narrow escapes, and moments where everything could have come to a screeching halt. To complicate matters, they also cleverly utilized the schedules of train arrivals and departures. As trains raced by, they blended into the rhythm of the city, conversing casually with commuters while masking their true intentions. Think of them as shadows among shadows, always a step ahead, waiting for the opportune moment to make their move. Each diversion added an extra layer of sophistication to their plots. They took cues from the hustle and bustle of daily life, the rush of morning commuters, the lull of mid-afternoon quiet, and the late-night tranquility. This meticulous attention to detail rendered them ghost-like, yet their audacity spoke volumes of the power one could wield through a mix of intellect and sheer bravado. Yet, as thrilling as their escapades sound, they also raise intriguing questions. What drove them to such lengths? Was it purely financial gain, or was there a deeper thrill found in the planning and execution of such high-stakes endeavors? Perhaps it was a combination of the two, an adrenaline rush that, for many, could only be satisfied by living on the edge, playing games with law enforcement and the city's security. Although they managed to execute several successful digs, the Tube Crypt gang eventually faded into obscurity. The investigations ramped up and efforts to secure bank vaults intensified. This left the remnants of their legend behind, tempting other would-be robbers to push the boundaries of their methods. In time, various theories emerged about the true identities of the gang members, but none notably gained strong footing. The mystery surrounding them played a significant role in perpetuating the enigma of their existence. Today, tales of the Tube Crypt gang find a place in the folklore of London. Their mysterious exploits remind us of the blend of urban life with the thrilling tales of rebellion against norms. Pigeonholing them as mere criminals misses the broader picture of their audacity, their strategies, and their creativity. Their story resonates in the rich tapestry of London's historical narratives, a reminder that beneath the surface, The city hides treasures of untold adventures and unknown legends. As we think back to a time when the tube served as both a precarious underground transport system and a strategic route for crime, one can almost hear the whispers of the past echoing among the subterranean walls. And so, the saga of the London Tube Crypt Gang lingers on, a testament to the multifaceted layers of human endeavor, mystery, and the ever-intriguing dance between chaos and order in the city's heart. This narrative captures the spirit of an era, the pulse of adventure, and the intrigue of unknown identities that continue to captivate our imaginations long after the events themselves have transpired. In the bustling port city of Rotterdam, known for its cutting-edge technology and strategic maritime logistics, a group of highly skilled individuals orchestrated a heist that would become legendary. This is the story of the Rotterdam Diamond Caper, a remarkable display of ingenuity, teamwork, and audacious planning. It all began in the heart of Rotterdam, a city that is not only a hub for international trade, but also a diamond trading center. The Rotterdam Diamond Exchange, where merchants from around the world conduct business, was buzzing with activity and immense wealth. Diamonds, precious and alluring, were often guarded with advanced security systems that included biometric scanners, motion detectors, and high-resolution cameras. Yet, this formidable fortress of glimmering jewels caught the eyes of a select group, a crew of professional thieves with a reputation for precise execution. The mastermind behind the operation was a man known as Victor. An expert in technology and a former engineer, Victor spent years crafting the perfect plan. He gathered a team of specialists, each chosen for their unique skills. There was Elena, a talented hacker capable of bypassing even the most sophisticated security protocols. Marco, a former military operative skilled in stealth and physical maneuvering. And Jamal, a transportation expert with a keen understanding of the port and its logistics. As the crew began their preparations, they studied the port's layout meticulously. They analyzed security schedules, identified blind spots in camera coverage, and calculated the shift changes of security personnel. Every detail was scrutinized, from the timing of their entry to the exact route they would take to avoid detection. The plan was not merely bold, it was an intricate dance of precision and timing. On the day of the caper, the team executed their plan with flawless precision. They arrived at the port in unassuming vehicles, blending into the busy environment of shipping containers and loading cranes. Dressed in uniforms that made them appear to be part of the maintenance crew, they moved with purpose toward their target, a shipping container that held millions in exquisite diamonds freshly imported from South Africa. Elena took the lead in neutralizing the security systems. With a few deft keystrokes, she accessed the network that controlled the cameras and alarms. It was a race against time as she worked to disable sensors while Marco and Jamal positioned themselves at the entrance to the shipping area. Their hearts raced, but their training kept them calm and focused. With the cameras offline momentarily, Marco and Jamal slipped into the restricted area, racing against the clock. They swiftly located the container, expertly piloting a forklift to get it open. The moment they pried it open, the sight of glittering diamonds sparkled under the dim port lights, an impressive sight that would tempt even the most stoic observer. As they loaded the precious stones into their bags, a sudden alarm pierced the air, signaling that their window of opportunity was rapidly closing. Victor, watching from a distance, quickly radioed the team, urging them to wrap up. They moved like shadows, loading the last of the diamonds before swiftly making their way back to their initial entry point. Through a maze of containers and strategically placed obstacles, they navigated to the prearranged escape route. Their plan relied not just on evasion, but also on diversion. A minor explosion in another section of the port, orchestrated in advance, drew attention away from their escape. Emergency personnel rushed to the site, allowing the crew to slip away unnoticed. As they reached a predetermined safe house outside the confines of the port, excitement mingled with disbelief. They had pulled off what many would have deemed impossible. The diamonds, shimmering in their bags, were not merely jewels. They represented their audacious spirit, meticulous planning, and the thrill of the chase. In the days that followed, the details of the heist sent ripples through law enforcement agencies across Europe. Investigators marveled at how high-tech security had been circumvented by a crew that operated seamlessly as a unit. Victor and his team had left no fingerprints, no DNA, and no leads for the authorities to follow. Rumors circulated about the gang, with legends growing around their identities and methods. Some said they were modern-day Robin Hoods, while others concerned themselves with the ramifications of their actions. For the crew, the heist was a testament to their skills and a reminder of the thin line between legality and adventure. While the world watched and speculated, the crew of the Rotterdam diamond caper vanished into the shadows of obscurity, their escape as brilliant as the diamonds they took. Each member of the crew had their intentions and dreams, each looking toward a future that shimmered with endless possibilities. The story of the heist would endure, a captivating narrative of cleverness and audacity that would inspire countless tales in the years to come. The Rotterdam diamond caper was not just a theft. It was a masterclass in strategic brilliance, marking the city as both a center of trade and a backdrop for one of the most extraordinary events in the world of high-stakes crime. In the realm of fascinating criminal tales, few are as intriguing as that of a figure known only as the Gentleman, a master of disguise who captivated Europe in the early 20th century. His exploits are not just tales of theft, but rather a complex narrative that intertwines art, intellect, and the romantic allure of criminality. This enigmatic gentleman had a penchant for the finer things in life, but rather than accumulating wealth through traditional means, he engaged in elaborate thefts targeting the elite. His victims were not just wealthy individuals, but symbols of high society, embodying a culture infused with opulence and grandeur. It is said that he meticulously chose his targets, preferring the lavish homes of aristocrats and affluent collectors. Each location was a carefully selected stage for his meticulously planned heists. What sets the gentleman apart from common thieves is his extraordinary ability to disguise himself. He became an actor of sorts, donning various personas that allowed him to infiltrate social gatherings and soirees unnoticed. One moment, he could be a charming art dealer, showcasing rare pieces, and the next, a sophisticated guest mingling with the upper crust of society. His ability to blend in was a hallmark of his criminal career. It was not merely about stealing. It was the thrill of being able to walk among those he viewed as both aspirational and elitist. In addition to his skills in disguise, the gentleman left behind a poignant calling card at each crime scene. Unlike typical criminals, he was not about leaving destruction in his wake. Instead, he chose to enchant his victims in a rather literary fashion. After each theft, he would leave notes quoting passages from classical literature, a deliberate choice imbued with meaning and reflection. These notes often included references to themes of greed, loss, and the ephemeral nature of material wealth. Imagine walking into your grand parlor, only to find the remnants of a theft alongside a beautifully penned quote from Shakespeare, or a line from a haunting sonnet by Keats. This literary twist added an element of sophistication to an otherwise sordid affair. His quotations challenged the victims to consider the deeper implications of their wealth. This may have been his way of reminding them that, Despite their status, treasures can be fleeting, and the joy in life does not solely arise from possessions. The gentleman's most notorious heist occurred one balmy summer evening in Paris. The city, alive with the vibrancy of its rich culture, served as the backdrop for his most audacious act. He infiltrated the home of a celebrated art collector, known for flaunting his wealth within elite circles. Disguised as an art curator, the gentleman charmed his way into the estate, engaging in conversations about artistic movements and investment opportunities. Hours passed as he expertly navigated the social dynamics of the evening, all the while biding his time. Under the soft glow of chandeliers and amidst the laughter of patrons, he executed his plan. He moved stealthily from room to room, taking only the most exquisite pieces, like a master chef selecting the finest ingredients for a meal. As dawn's light broke the horizon, he vanished, leaving behind a singular note, a passage from Baudelaire that mused on the fleeting nature of beauty, cementing his legend. Over time, news of the gentleman spread across Europe, turning him into a figure of fascination and admiration. People began to idolize this curious thief. He represented a rebellion against the status quo, an artist defying the conventions of society. His story sparked conversations that oscillated between morality and admiration. Was he a villain or a poet, cloaked in the guise of a thief? His actions also ignited discussions about privilege and class disparity. As stories circulated about the gentleman's escapades, people began to question the moral implications of wealth accumulation. What does it truly mean to possess riches when they can so easily be taken away? The literary references he left behind served as provocations of thought, pushing individuals to reflect on their values and the society they inhabit. As the years passed, the gentleman faded from the limelight, but his influence remained. He became a part of European folklore, a character whose essence was immortalized in various forms of media, books, films, and even performances. The notion of a refined thief, one who steals art and culture as much as he takes gold and jewels, continues to fascinate storytellers and audiences alike. The allure of the gentleman lies not solely in his criminal acts, but in the understanding that he was a reflection of his times. He embodied the paradox of aspiration and morality, challenging the notion of what it means to truly own something. In a world where wealth and status often dictate value, the gentleman reminds us that the true treasures in life may lie in the stories we leave behind and the memories we forge, rather than in material possession. So, the tale of this master of disguise continues to captivate hearts and minds, blending the world of intrigue with the richness of literary heritage. His legacy is a testament to the complexities of human desire, the nuances of identity, and the fine line that separates admiration from disdain. In his wake, he left a reminder that every story, no matter how grand or simple, contributes to the tapestry of human experience. In the bustling heart of Tokyo, where neon lights illuminate the night and the hum of technology fills the air, lies a district known as Akihabara. Famed for its vibrant culture, electronics shops, and anime stores, Akihabara is a haven for tech enthusiasts and pop culture fans alike. Among its many attractions, visitors can find arcades that beckon with the promise of fun and excitement. But lurking within this shiny facade is a tale that transcends ordinary intrigue: the infamous Akihabara coin heist. On a seemingly ordinary day, a meticulously planned operation unfolded, marking its place in history as Japan's largest coin theft. The planners of this audacious heist demonstrated not only skill, but also a profound understanding of the intricacies involved in the world of pachinko, a popular form of gambling in Japan that combines elements of slot machines and pinball. Pachinko parlors line the streets of Akihabara, drawing in crowds eager to try their luck, exchanging small metal balls for various rewards, including coveted prizes. It is here that the plot thickened. Thieves took note of the pachinko parlors, understanding that these establishments tended to accumulate vast quantities of coins from their daily operations. With a combined total estimated in the millions of dollars, the potential reward was too tempting to resist. The heist was not merely an act of theft. It was a carefully orchestrated dance, planned to perfection. As the sun dipped low and the neon lights began to twinkle, the thieves set their plans into motion. They observed the daily routines of the parlors and the behaviors of their employees, searching for any weaknesses in security systems. Timing was everything. The moment had to be just right. On the designated day, a group of well-prepared individuals entered one bustling pachinko parlor, appearing as regular patrons. Blending into the crowd, they masked their true intention. They casually played the games, creating a distraction, while backroom preparations unfolded silently. Key players in this operation had already accessed the inner workings of the parlor, taking advantage of gaps in security protocols. While some members of the team engaged with the staff and customers, others migrated toward the coin storage area. Here, the real action began. Utilizing tools discreetly concealed beneath casual clothing, the thieves expertly manipulated coin machines, triggering the release of coins into bags. What might have taken hours for an average player became a matter of minutes for these skilled operatives. As the coins clinked and filled their bags, the thrill of the heist surged through them. The plan did not solely rely on swift actions, but also on keen awareness. Thieves kept their ears attuned to conversations, balancing the delicate line between maintaining their cover while executing the essential tasks at hand. As chaos erupted from their distraction, panic spread, allowing them precious moments to gather as many coins as possible. After a carefully orchestrated escape, the thieves vanished into the vibrant streets of Akihabara, leaving the stunned employees and patrons to reconcile the loss and confusion. An alarming realization hit the pachinko parlor's ownership. They had just witnessed the largest coin heist in Japanese history. As news of the heist spread, it captivated the public's imagination. Investigators launched extensive inquiries, employing cutting-edge technology and surveillance footage in an effort to track down the elusive criminal. What followed was a pursuit that revealed the intense passion within the world of crime drama. The account of the Akihabara coin heist seamlessly intertwined with Tokyo's rich tapestry of urban legends and modern folklore. Despite the tireless work of law enforcement, the thieves remained elusive, their identities cloaked in shadows. Each new piece of information led to dead ends, leaving the public entranced by the mystery. How did they manage to execute such a flawless operation? What lengths would they go to protect their anonymity? Rumors began to circulate, and speculation ran wild. The story transcended mere theft. It became a cultural phenomenon woven into Tokyo's identity. Documentaries were produced, books were written, and the heist even inspired fictional works in movies and anime, framing the escapade through a lens of intrigue and suspense. The Akihabara coin heist served as both a warning and a testament to the lengths to which individuals would go, shaping perspectives on crime within an otherwise modern, peaceful society. Today, Akihabara remains a bustling hub of technology, entertainment, and culture. The memory of the heist serves as a reminder that, beneath the vibrant exterior, there exists an undercurrent of excitement, risk, and unpredictability. This tale of ambition and cunning captures the imagination of both residents and visitors alike, echoing through the alleys and arcades that hold stories of past escapades. As one walks through Akihabara's lively streets, the spirit of that long-ago day lingers, merging with the melodic sounds of pachinko machines and the bright flashes from gaming consoles. The allure of this vibrant district continues, forever intertwined with the echo of the Akihabara coin heist, a daring escapade driven by ambition, skill, and the thrill of the hunt. And as long as that spirit thrives, tales of the heist will echo in the heart of Tokyo, reminding us of the blend of light and shadow that characterizes this captivating city. In the heart of the Swiss Alps, amid stunning landscapes of towering peaks and tranquil lakes, there existed a whispered myth among local residents, a clandestine circle known as the Swiss Safecrackers League. This enigmatic society emerged during the 1960s, a period marked not only by cultural revolutions, but also by an influx of audacious crimes that seemed almost supernatural in their execution. While many believed in the uniqueness of the Swiss banks, housing vast fortunes and layered in security, this group specialized in turning the impossible into reality. The tale begins in the quaint town of Zug, a picturesque setting that belied the secrets concealed behind its facade. The initial rumor of the Swiss Safecrackers League began with a series of infamous heists that left authorities bewildered. The League was a collective of some of the most skilled lockpickers, masterful locksmiths, and ingenious tacticians in the art of safecracking. Their expertise was rumored to be so advanced that they could manipulate the most intricately designed mechanisms without leaving behind a trace, almost as if they had a supernatural grasp of the inner workings of locks and safes. Legend says the League was composed of individuals from diverse backgrounds, former engineers, professional locksmiths, and even ex-military personnel. Each member brought a unique set of skills to the table, enabling them to craft meticulous plans that defied logic. It was not simply about breaking and entering. It was about artfully orchestrating an elaborate escapade, not just to steal valuables, but to showcase their mastery over security systems. One of the most notorious endeavors attributed to the League was the heist at the Banco di Roma in 1965. Security was deemed impenetrable, with layers of protection that would discourage even the most seasoned criminals. Rumors of the League's planning activities swirled for weeks prior to the event. Locals reported seeing shadowy figures, mapping out the bank's exterior, and frequently visiting nearby cafes. As the day of the heist arrived, confusion and disbelief settled in when valuables worth millions simply vanished overnight, leaving behind a silent vault and a police force stranded in puzzlement. The meticulous planning and execution didn't just end at the bank. For each operation, the League invested in researching not only their target, but also local environment details. They would gather intel on schedules, security routines, and even routine maintenance checks of locking mechanisms. They believed that understanding the environment was just as crucial as understanding the locks themselves. In another famous operation in Geneva, they successfully infiltrated a jewelry store by masquerading as delivery personnel, taking advantage of a busy delivery day. The heist was executed seamlessly, with jewelry vanishing silently, as if it had never existed in the first place. The League's ventures often left behind cryptic messages, almost like a signature. These messages hinted at their motivations, beyond mere wealth. Many believed this was a game for them, an intellectual challenge to test their skills against the finest technology available. As news of their heists spread, increased security measures began to shadow their existence, creating a growing tension between the desire for protection and the allure of defiance. However, This fascination with the criminal underbelly didn't only capture the imagination of the public. It also stirred the interest of law enforcement agencies. The Swiss intelligence and police services established task forces determined to unearth the League and restore public safety. Despite soaring bounties offered for any leads, the group continued to evade capture, implementing strategies that seemed decisive and precise. Whenever they executed a heist, they vanished into thin air, leaving the pursuing officers grasping at shadows. The peak of their activity coincided with the flowering of the counterculture movement across Europe, leading many to speculate if they were influenced by this zeitgeist. The notion of rebellion, the allure of challenges, and a profound understanding of their society's rules brought them to fame as legends among criminals. As time went on, the heists by the League began to wane, and whispers of their existence faded into the past. As they disappeared from headlines, their impact remained evident in the evolution of security systems. The industry strengthened its defenses, adopting more sophisticated technologies to prevent future robberies. Despite this shift, stories continued to circulate in the shadows, recounting tales of the League's prowess and their daring feats. Today, the legacy of the Swiss Safecrackers League lives on, not as a cautionary tale, but as a tribute to ingenuity and skill. It invites discussions around the thin line between the protectors and the challengers of security, serving as a symbol of the allure of mystery that surrounds legends of old. So, the next time you hear a click of a lock or see a trickster maneuvering expertly to bypass barriers, remember the League in Switzerland, who once wove tales of escapades into the very fabric of folklore, forever inspiring those who chase the thrill of adventure. In the quiet countryside of Quebec, Canada, a captivating story unfolded that would prove once again that sometimes the most thrilling adventures come from the most unexpected places. This is the tale of the great Canadian maple syrup heist, a robbery so ambitious that it revealed the hidden depths of the black market for this beloved sweet commodity. Maple syrup is an iconic product of Canada, deeply rooted in its culture and economy. The province of Quebec alone produces more than 70% of the world's maple syrup supply, making it a significant player in the global market. Maple syrup production is a labor-intensive process, requiring the careful tapping of maple trees and the meticulous boiling down of sap to create the sweet syrup that adorns pancakes and waffles far beyond Canada's borders. Given its popularity, it is no wonder that a thriving industry surrounds its production. In the early morning hours of a chilly spring day in 2012, a group of skilled thieves executed an elaborate plan that would soon shake the very foundations of this syrup empire. Their target, the Global Strategic Maple Syrup Reserve, a massive facility designed to store the annual production of maple syrup, ensuring a stable market price and preventing fluctuations in supply. This reserve is a crucial part of Quebec's economy, acting as a safety net for producers against bad harvests or surpluses. As these criminals made their move, they skillfully navigated the security measures in place. They knew that taking anything from this reserve was a serious risk, but their determination was fueled by the potential reward. The operation was careful and calculated. They worked under the cover of night, using trucks to transport barrels of syrup, which are large and heavy, but filled with a liquid that is both valuable and delicious. With every barrel packed into their vehicles, they knew they were capitalizing on a product held in high esteem and demand. Once the thieves made their getaway, it quickly became apparent just how extensive their haul was. The value of what they stole was staggering, amounting to an estimated 18 million Canadian dollars. This enormous loss sent shockwaves through the maple syrup community and the economy at large. It was more than just syrup. It was a piece of Canadian heritage that had been taken. As the investigation unfolded, it soon became clear that this incident was not just a random act of theft. The heist exposed an underground market for maple syrup, a black market that had been thriving unbeknownst to many. The syrup theft was part of a larger criminal enterprise that had been stealing and reselling syrup in various avenues, including restaurants and grocery stores, all while bypassing legitimate channels and regulation. In the aftermath of the theft, authorities launched an extensive investigation, delving deep into the maple syrup industry and following the trail of the syrup itself. They quickly realized that it would not be easy to track down the stolen products. The appeals of the syrup were not just as a sweetener, but as a symbol of heritage and tradition. The thieves had stumbled upon a lucrative trade that many had no clue existed, reflecting the complex world of commodities and the lengths to which people would go to protect or exploit these valuable resources. As the months rolled on, the investigation revealed connections between several individuals previously connected to the syrup industry. The crime syndicate behind the syrup heist involved not just thieves, but also well-placed insiders who knew how to work the system, creating a nexus of crime that highlighted the vulnerabilities present in even the most seemingly straightforward industries. Eventually, the authorities were able to piece together enough evidence and tips to make arrests. Some of the criminals were apprehended, and significant portions of the stolen syrup were recovered. Yet the investigation continued to uncover shocking facets of the maple syrup black market. It turned out that this heist was a symptom of a much larger problem within a beloved industry. This tale showcased how deeply the love for maple syrup runs in Canada, but it also revealed the darker side of that affection. Product value, cultural significance, and the risks of illicit trade all converged in this dramatic story of deception and greed. The heist became a cautionary tale, warning about what could happen when love of a product clashes with the shadows of greed and ambition. In the grand scheme of things, the Canadian maple syrup heist demonstrated the old adage that crime does not pay, but it also showcased how the allure of something as sweet as maple syrup could lead to unexpected, thrilling outcomes. As the dust settled, the heist fueled public curiosity and debate about the challenges faced by industries reliant on natural resources, and how easily the lines between respect for tradition and the temptations of quick profit could blur. The saga of the maple syrup heist became ingrained in Canadian folklore, transitioning from a daring crime story to a symbol of perseverance and the need for vigilance in protecting treasured commodities. And so, from fields of leaves, turning brilliant shades of orange and gold to the sweet nectar dripping from tapping lines, the legacy of this black market escapade continues, whispering of adventure, intrigue, and the sweet taste of risk, intertwined with the age-old tradition of maple syrup production. As the sun dipped below the horizon, painting the sky in vibrant hues of orange and pink, the streets of Rio de Janeiro erupted in a symphony of music, laughter, and the rhythmic beat of samba. The Rio Carnival, renowned for its breathtaking parades and colorful costumes, attracted millions of revelers from all around the globe, transforming the city into a kaleidoscope of sound and movement. Amid this whirlwind of festivities, a different story unfolded, one that glittered with deception and intrigue. On the surface, the carnival was a celebration of joy and culture, but hidden within the throng of dancers and jubilant spectators was a meticulously planned heist. A flawless team of con artists had chosen this very occasion to execute an audacious swap that would leave even the keenest observers in disbelief. They were not only skilled in the art of deception, but were also masters of disguise, blending seamlessly into the crowd with their vibrant costumes and infectious spirits. The team had done their homework. For months, they observed the movements and habits of their targets, jewelers and wealthy festival-goers, who showcased their most prized possessions, sparkling gems glistening in the sunlight. The team identified a particularly opulent jewel exhibition, known for its extravagant display of precious stones, a gathering where the most affluent individuals would flaunt their diamonds, emeralds, and rubies. It was the perfect setting for their grand illusion. As the carnival began, crowds surged towards the exhibition, their excitement palpable. The team of swindlers moved like shadows through the revelry, their intentions shrouded in the vibrant chaos. Each member of the group had a designated role, ensuring that every detail was accounted for, and that the operation would go off without a hitch. One member donned an extravagant feathered costume, drawing attention with lively dance moves, while another positioned themselves close to the jewels, ready to execute the switch. Carrying an impressive array of faux gems that sparkled just enough to catch the eye, the team worked in unison. They navigated through the thick throng of carnival-goers, strategically planting themselves near the exhibit. As the evening progressed, the enthusiasm of the crowd peaked, and the sound of music crescendoed. The vibrant atmosphere created an ideal cover for their audacious maneuver. In a well-orchestrated moment, while spectators were distracted by the dazzling performance of samba dancers, one of the members approached a stall showcasing an exquisite diamond necklace. With a casual gesture and a confident smile, they engaged the jeweler in conversation, admiring the piece and its intricate design. Meanwhile, another member discreetly swapped the dazzling necklace for a cleverly crafted imitation made from composite materials. The switch was so seamless that it went unnoticed, even by the keenest eye. The con artists moved quickly, their adrenaline pumping as they exchanged real gems for paste replicas, slipping the genuine stones into concealed pockets. As the night wore on, the energy of the festival surged, and the team's confidence grew alongside the rhythm of the samba drums. They danced and celebrated, mingling among the crowd, savoring their success as the real jewels became more and more distant from the exhibit. As dawn approached, the festivities began to wind down, and the streets slowly emptied. The sound of laughter gave way to a gentle hush, and the con crew, successful in their audacious heist, melted into the morning light. They left behind bewildered jewelers and festival-goers, blissfully unaware of the swindle that had unfolded amid their celebration. The real gems, once the pride of their owners, were destined for hidden caches and black markets, their value skyrocketing far from the vibrant chaos of the carnival. What the team had achieved was not merely the theft of valuables. They had orchestrated a masterclass in misdirection and teamwork, capitalizing on the unique energy of the carnival. The triumph of their deception lay not just in their ability to swap stones, but also in how they had engaged and captivated the attention of countless witnesses, all while blending into an event that values exuberance and spectacle. The story of the Rio Carnival Gem Swindle serves as a reminder of the thin line between celebration and chaos. In a world filled with brilliant performances, dazzling gems, and vibrant colors, it is often easy to overlook the subtleties that can hide profound truths. As the carnival continues to flourish each year, so too do the stories that emerge from its depths. Some of celebration and joy, and others, as in this case, of clever deceit woven into the fabric of festivity. In the serene landscape of Thailand, where ancient traditions blend seamlessly with the vibrant pulse of modern life, there exists a story steeped in mystery and intrigue. It revolves around one of the most revered artifacts in Buddhist culture, known as the Emerald Buddha. This exquisite idol, crafted from a singular piece of jade, not only holds immense spiritual significance, but is also a symbol of national pride for the Thai people. The Emerald Buddha is enshrined in the Wat Phra Kaeo Temple, located within the grounds of the Grand Palace in Bangkok. This temple, with its intricate architecture and rich history, attracts millions of visitors each year, all drawn to its sacred atmosphere and the luminous beauty of the Emerald Buddha itself. The statue, adorned with elaborate golden robes that change with the season, embodies the essence of Buddhism, representing purity, harmony, and the eternal search for enlightenment. However, the story of the Emerald Buddha takes a dramatic turn that would shock the nation and capture the attention of the world. In the early years of the 20th century, more precisely in 1932, during a time of significant political change in Thailand, the country experienced an unsettling event. Amidst the backdrop of a revolution that sought to transform the existing monarchy, the idol mysteriously vanished from its altar, setting off a wave of panic and disbelief among those who regarded it with reverence. The circumstances surrounding the disappearance of the Emerald Buddha remain shrouded in mystery. Various accounts suggest that the statue was spirited away in the dead of night, perhaps by those who wished to leverage its power for political gain. The theft incited an urgent search that spanned not only Thailand, but also reached the various countries bordering it. The quest for the Emerald Buddha became an international endeavor, with authorities and collectors of art alike searching high and low for the missing treasure. As stories of the theft unfolded, they captured the imagination of the public. Speculation swirled around who could have taken such a significant artifact, and theories abounded. Some believed it was orchestrated by a rival faction seeking to undermine the monarchy, while others thought it might have been the act of an art thief recognizing the immense value of the statue, not just in monetary terms, but also in the cultural identity it represented. Media coverage of the disappearance brought global awareness to the plight of the Emerald Buddha. Newspaper headlines proclaimed the incident, calling it a catastrophe for both Thailand's cultural heritage and the broader Buddhist community. Investigators alongside local monks poured resources into uncovering leads, yet the statue remained elusive. Despite the involvement of international law enforcement and secretive negotiations over the years, no trace of the idol has ever been found. Over the decades, the absence of the Emerald Buddha has loomed large in the collective memory of the Thai people. Cultural references to the theft have arisen, turning the statue's story into a modern legend. Schools teach about its history, and its significance has woven itself into the fabric of Thai folklore, emphasizing the idea that great treasures are oftentimes accompanied by great calamities. The loss of the Emerald Buddha also served to highlight the broader issue of art theft and cultural heritage. It sparked conversations about the importance of safeguarding national symbols, the role of museums, and the ethical management of cultural artifacts. Many have recognized that similar thefts have occurred across the globe, as those with ill intentions disregard the sanctity of cultural touchstones that hold stories of ancient civilizations, beliefs, and identities. Curators and historians have since worked diligently to protect other important artifacts, while advocating for the return of stolen cultural treasures worldwide. The dialogue surrounding the Emerald Buddha's theft remains relevant, bringing attention to how history is preserved and the lengths individuals will go to in order to reclaim what is rightfully theirs. Years have gone by, yet the Emerald Buddha, with its deep-rooted mystique, continues to haunt the corridors of time. This precious idol may have vanished, but its spirit and message continue to resonate powerfully with both the Buddhist community and those who seek peace and harmony. Its story stands as a poignant reminder of the fragility of cultural heritage and the enduring human connection to art and faith. As the world changes and modernizes, the legend of the Emerald Buddha remains a testament to the rich tapestry of history and culture that shapes our identities. The search for understanding, appreciation, and preservation of such treasures does not merely reflect our yearning for the past, but also our hope for the future. The tale of the Emerald Buddha is not simply one of loss, but also one of pursuit, reverence, and a call to protect the narratives that define societies across the globe. In the world of art heists, a fascinating chapter has emerged surrounding the remarkable phenomenon known as acoustic illusions, particularly highlighted in whispering galleries. These architectural wonders possess unique sound properties that have not only inspired artists and architects alike, but have also captured the attention of those with more nefarious intentions. Whispering galleries have a distinctive feature. They allow sounds to travel in seemingly impossible ways, drawing people into a complex interplay of auditory experiences. Imagine a grand dome, like the one found in St. Paul's Cathedral in London. Here, a person standing in one corner can speak softly and have their voice heard clearly on the opposite side, even when the distance spans several meters. This phenomenon occurs due to the curve of the dome, which channels sound waves directly across the space. For unsuspecting visitors, it's a delightful quirk of architecture that invites whispers and hushed conversations, creating an atmosphere of intimacy and secrecy. However, for some, these secrets have been exploited for nefarious purposes. Art thieves have learned to harness the properties of whispering galleries to communicate silently without attracting attention, coordinating their elaborate schemes with remarkable precision. The allure of art, often seen as a treasure of culture and heritage, becomes a motive for those who would dare to steal it, and the subtle acoustic features of these grand structures offer them a distinct advantage. Consider a team of thieves planning a bold operation within a renowned museum. They gather in a whispering gallery, where voices are softly carried along the curves of the walls, allowing them to strategize without being overheard. In ordinary settings, such discussions would require caution, but here they can speak freely. The gallery transforms into an echo chamber of whispered plans, where every detail, timing, locations, and routes can be articulated softly, yet effectively. The historical significance of whispering galleries cannot be underestimated. Beyond their aesthetic appeal, these spaces represent the intersection of art, science, and human ingenuity. Artists and architects throughout history have embraced the art of acoustics, creating spaces that not only captivate the eye, but also engage the ear. It is this engagement that thieves have capitalized on, turning beauty into a backdrop for their heists. Take, for instance, the heist at the renowned Isabella Stewart Gardner Museum in Boston, an incident that has become a hallmark of art theft. Though not executed within a whispering gallery, the method employed by the thieves mirrors the calculated stealth that such spaces facilitate. The ability to communicate discreetly enhances their operational effectiveness. Whispering galleries amplify this tactic, providing a natural canvas for covert exchanges. In other fascinating locations, from the United States Capitol Dome to the galleries of the National Gallery in London, these architectural masterpieces have witnessed whispers of conspiracy unfold within their esteemed wall. The museums that house priceless art collections must always remain vigilant, not only in guarding their treasures, but also in recognizing the peculiar functionalities of their spaces. What can draw admirers in can also entice those with ill intentions. Moreover, The stories told through the art in these institutions often tell a larger tale of resilience and human expression. Each painting, sculpture, or artifact carries with it a history that speaks of awe and inspiration. But ironically, that same narrative can be twisted by those who prioritize personal gain over cultural preservation. As we delve deeper into the art of thievery, it's critical to understand the blend of creativity and cunning that exists within these whispering galleries. For those involved in such operations, the heist is not merely about the theft, but rather about the execution. The choreography of movement and emotion against a backdrop of artistry. The allure of ancient artifacts, masterpieces of Renaissance art, and contemporary pieces all hold their own mystique. Wow. The thieves know that while they may be erasing a piece of history, they are also creating a narrative of their own. Each successful theft becomes a story of triumph, albeit one shrouded in deception and avarice. In the world of art and architecture, these whispering galleries reveal remarkable truths about human nature. They remind us that beauty can be both a source of inspiration and a target of intrigue. The juxtaposition of creativity against the cunning motivations of those who would exploit these environments creates an engaging narrative that reflects our complex relationship with art itself. As we appreciate the brilliance of architectural design, gaze upon stunning artwork, and listen to the secrets carried through whispering galleries, we must also acknowledge the darker side of this history. The interplay between sound and strategy, beauty and betrayal, adds a layer of complexity to the world of art theft. It is a testament to the lengths some will go to acquire beauty, and the forever intriguing whisper that lingers in these halls where art and crime intersect. In conclusion, the phenomenon of whispering galleries extends beyond mere acoustics. They embody stories of innovation, intrigue, and the eternal dance between admiration and ambition. Whether cloaked in shadows or illuminated by bright lights, these spaces will continue to echo the hidden narratives of both creativity and crime for years to come, adding depth to the tapestry of human experience surrounding the world of art and its protection. In the art world, few names evoke the same level of intrigue and fascination as the Mona Lisa. This iconic masterpiece, painted by the Italian Renaissance artist Leonardo da Vinci, has captivated audiences for centuries with its enigmatic smile and breathtaking detail. But beyond its official fame lies a lesser-known story about deception, ambition, and skill, the tale of the counterfeit Mona Lisa plot. For years, an international ring dedicated itself to creating and selling nearly identical copies of this celebrated painting. The Mona Lisa's allure presented them with the perfect opportunity. The original, housed in the Louvre Museum in Paris, is not just a painting, it's a phenomenon. Touring exhibitions and countless reproductions have made it one of the most recognizable artworks in human history. It is no wonder that it became a target for those with a flair for forgery. This operation began gaining traction in the early part of the 20th century, as various art forgers discovered that they could replicate the Mona Lisa with remarkable precision. Equipped with a keen eye for Da Vinci's distinctive brushwork and a deep understanding of the materials he might have used, these artisans crafted their own versions. They scoured through art history texts and studied Da Vinci's techniques, pouring hours into matching the coloring, shadowing, and texture of the original. Their efforts weren't just about mimicking the painting. Esteemed forgers knew that to successfully pass off their versions as genuine, they needed to be equally convincing in their backstories. They carefully created narratives about the piece's supposed origins, often linking them to fictionalized accounts of how they had been hidden during wartime or seamlessly passed down through generations of art collectors. These tales added layers of authenticity, making it easier to persuade unsuspecting buyers that they were purchasing an original. The ring operated across various countries, spanning Europe and beyond. They had connections with art dealers and auction houses, which further elevated their operation. As time went on, they managed to sell several of these replicas to unsuspecting collectors who believed they had acquired a priceless artifact. Imagine walking into your home, gazing at what you think is an original Da Vinci painting, little realizing that you hold a carefully crafted imitation. What truly set this counterfeit ring apart was their attention to detail. Many forgeries included the subtle nuances found in the original painting, such as the texture of the canvas, the particular shades of oil paint used, and even the aging effects that developed over centuries. These forgers went so far as to age their canvases artificially, using techniques that mimicked the wear and tear found on paintings housed in museums. To add credibility to their forgeries, the producers often sought out experts in the art field who could authenticate their work. Sometimes these forgers hired accomplices who posed as reputable art appraisers, bolstering the illusion of authenticity. With a falsely reputable signature placed upon the artwork, the buyers were all but guaranteed a convincing tale regarding the integrity of the piece. Awash with deception, the story thickened in the late 20th century, when some of those involved in this art forgery operation found themselves caught. A number of the paintings were retrieved, but not before some landing in private collections or being showcased in galleries. As art historians began studying the evolution of forgeries, they noted that the presence of these counterfeits changed the discourse about what defines authenticity in the realm of fine art. In particular, they examined how a well-crafted forgery could elicit emotional responses similar to those provoked by the original work. Audiences often could not discern the difference between the authentic and the replicated piece, leading to philosophical questions about art's essence and value. What if feelings sparked by a counterfeit were just as powerful? Does the importance of a work come from its creator or from the emotions it evokes in its viewers? This fascinating narrative is what has kept collectors and art enthusiasts intrigued. The Mona Lisa remains a canvas upon which countless stories are projected. Its influence extends beyond artistic circles and into the wider world, underscoring both the beauty found in creation as well as the complexities surrounding replication and imitation. In recent years, art forensics has advanced dramatically, incorporating technology and scientific analysis into the authentication process. For example, X-ray imaging and infrared reflectography can reveal details hidden beneath layers of paint that the naked eye cannot see. These methods make it increasingly difficult for forgers to succeed. However, the artifacts of the counterfeit era remain with us, serving as a reminder of the lengths to which some will go for the allure of art and the human desire to connect with the past. It is a remarkable case of audacity and craft that reminds us that while the original Mona Lisa might hold a unique place in the hearts of millions, history is often shaped not just by the remarkable works of art, but by the stories of those who dared to challenge their authenticity. This tale of the counterfeit Mona Lisa plot invites us to look deeper into the fabric of art history, questioning what we truly value in art and how it connects us to our shared humanity. As we explore these narratives, we appreciate that art's power transcends mere visuals. It speaks to desire, aspiration, and the human experience itself. In the bustling heart of Bangkok, the city known for its vibrant street life and rich cultural heritage, an audacious crime took place that would capture the attention of the nation. The Bangkok Trainyard robbery is a tale of brazen thieves, meticulous planning, and high-stakes drama that unfolded against the backdrop of Thailand's largest railway network. In the early hours of a seemingly ordinary day, a heavily guarded train carrying valuable gold bars was preparing to leave the train yard. This was not any train. It was a distinct transport used specifically for moving precious metals and other high-value commodities. The cargo was of immense worth, and the security measures in place were stringent. It was a transport akin to a moving vault, protected by armed guards and state-of-the-art surveillance. Yet, what was about to happen seemed straight out of a thrilling heist movie. As dawn approached, a group of masked gang members, known for their expertise in executing elaborate crimes, made their move. They arrived at the train yard, under the cloak of darkness, their faces hidden behind masks, intent on committing one of the most sophisticated robberies in recent history. The gang had spent weeks planning every detail, observing the security patterns and learning the routines of the guards. Their strategy was not just to steal, it was to execute a plan flawlessly. In an unprecedented twist, the gang systematically derailed the train. This act was not arbitrary. It was a calculated decision to create chaos and draw attention away from their true objective, the gold that lay within the train's secure compartments. The sound of metal grinding against metal echoed through the train yard as the train came to a sudden halt, its cargo now within reach of the criminals. Amidst the initial shock and confusion, the gang swiftly made their move. They had prepared for this moment, equipped with tools that allowed them to bypass the train's security measures. As the gang breached the compartments, they revealed rows of gleaming gold bars, shimmering in the early morning light. The sight was mesmerizing, yet for the gang members, it was a validation of their meticulous planning and their desire for wealth. As the operation unfolded, chaos erupted. The sound of alarms filled the air, and the guards sprang into action, their training kicking in as they attempted to intervene. However, the gang had anticipated this reaction. To create a further diversion, some members set off flares and triggered additional alarms at different locations throughout the train yard, complicating the response of the authorities. In a matter of minutes, the gang had capitalized on their plan, loading the gold onto waiting vehicles that had been stealthily parked nearby. The operation was rapid, and within moments, they vanished from the scene, leaving behind a train that gave the appearance of being victimized by an unforeseen accident rather than a grand heist. The aftermath of the robbery was met with disbelief and heightened scrutiny over security protocols surrounding transport vehicles. Investigators flocked to the scene, piecing together evidence, analyzing surveillance footage, and interviewing witnesses. A police investigation commenced, delving into the backgrounds of the masked thieves, revealing they were part of an organized network with a history of high-profile crimes. The public was captivated by the story. News outlets covered the unfolding events in detail, dissecting every angle of the elaborate heist. Speculations ran rampant about the gang's fate. Had they managed to escape with their spoils, or were they hiding in plain sight among the throngs of people in Bangkok? Discussions about the efficacy of security systems in place permeated the news cycle, raising questions that would linger long after the incident. However, this incident was not just a story of crime. It also highlighted vulnerabilities within systems thought to be infallible. Authorities faced scrutiny, leading to a comprehensive review of security protocols for transporting valuables across the railway network. The event served as a wake-up call, not just for the railways, but for the entire country. Lessons were learned about the importance of vigilance and the need for adaptive security measures in a dynamically changing world. In the months that followed, the Bangkok Trainyard robbery became more than just a heist. It evolved into a poignant narrative about ambition, risk, and the age-old pursuit of wealth. The gang's audacity sparked conversations around criminal psychology and motivations, drawing discussions around the impact of socioeconomic factors on crime. As time passed, attempts to recover the stolen gold proved challenging. Law enforcement agencies worked tirelessly, employing modern forensic techniques and collaborating with international agencies. Yet the gang seemed to have vanished, as elusive as the treasure they had stolen. This heist, marked by its daring and sheer scale, left an indelible mark on Bangkok's history. The tale continues to intrigue and inspire documentaries, articles, and even films, encapsulating the essence of human ambition and the lengths to which some will go to achieve their desires. In a city known for its resilience, the memory of the Bangkok Trainyard robbery remains a reminder of the unpredictable nature of life and crime, drawing lessons that echo beyond the rails of one fateful morning. In the heart of Paris, a city renowned for its elegance and sophistication, there lurked a shadowy figure who would come to epitomize a curious blend of luxury and menace. This is the story of the Paris perfume poisoner, a mysterious criminal who turned the glamorous world of high-end fragrances into a stage for an unsettling drama that captured the attention of the elite. Imagine walking into a lavish boutique, surrounded by countless bottles of exquisite perfumes, each designed to evoke emotions, memories, and desires. These luxurious scents promise the enchanting allure of Paris, with their delicate notes of jasmine, rose, and sandalwood. For the wealthy Parisians, these fragrances were not just aromas. They were symbols of status and sophistication. Each scent was a conversation starter, a reflection of personal identity, and an essential accessory to their extravagant lifestyles. However, beneath the glimmering surface of this vibrant fragrance industry lay a dark story. The Paris perfume poisoner emerged as a malevolent force, targeting the very essence of this world. Reports began to emerge of unexpected reactions and strange illnesses among those who had spritzed themselves with what they believed to be luxury perfumes. These were not mere bouts of allergy or sensitivity. They were alarming incidents that left many in a state of panic. The perfume bottles that once glimmered on elegantly crafted shelves were suddenly shrouded in suspicion. The very air that had once been perfumed with delightful scents now tinged with apprehension. Investigators rushed to understand the cause of these mysterious reactions. They discovered that someone had ingeniously replaced the contents of high-end perfume bottles with toxic mixtures, skillfully avoiding detection. The cleverness of this criminal was chilling, as they seemed to operate with an understanding of both chemistry and the inner workings of luxury retail. As the panic spread through Parisian high society, immense pressure mounted on law enforcement to unmask the perfumer turned poisoner. Social events, galas and soirees that once sparkled with excitement were now filled with whispers and cautious discussions. What had once been an emblem of allure now bred fear. Women and men who had thoughtlessly indulged in the intoxicating luxury of their favorite scents now found themselves questioning their choices and the products they cherished. A simple spritz became a gamble. The media, fueled by the sensational nature of the situation, inundated the public with updates and speculation. Even those far removed from the fragrance industry found themselves captivated by the thrilling narrative, which evolved into a modern-day mystery. Who was this elusive architect of fear? Was it a jilted perfumer, an embittered artist, or someone entirely unexpected? The drama unfolded like a captivating novel, keeping Paris, and indeed the world, on edge. As the investigation deepened, the motivations behind the acts of this individual came into sharper focus. Some speculated that it might not be mere malice, but rather a complex web of artistic expression, a statement against consumerism, or perhaps a personal vendetta against the elite class. Perhaps this individual sought to reveal the fragility behind the facade of luxury, highlighting how easily beauty could become a weapon. The quest to capture the Paris perfume poisoner took many unexpected turns, with leads that went nowhere and suspects who appeared to vanish into thin air. The chase became a thrilling cat-and-mouse game, with officials tirelessly working to prevent further incidents, while the perpetrator deftly evaded capture. The hunt for the poisoner turned into an obsession, not just for the authorities, but for the public itself. Cafes buzzed with discussions about the latest findings, and curious crowds gathered outside perfume shops, hoping to glimpse a hint of the truth. Fashion houses emphasized the integrity of their products, reassuring clients that they had taken extensive measures to protect their beloved scents. They introduced new safeguards, but the shadow of doubt lingered. Unbeknownst to the elites of Paris, somewhere hidden within the city's enchanting streets, the perfume poisoner continued their clandestine operations. The mystery deepened as tales of accidental encounters with this figure emerged, stories that blended the lines of myth and reality. Was this person a phantom, a ghost, flitting between the opulence of Parisian life? Despite the fear they had instigated, the perfume poisoner seemed to embody a certain allure that fascinated the public. It was almost as if they were challenging the very nature of luxury itself, a reminder that even the most exquisite beauty could hide darker undertones. As quickly as they appeared, the trail of the Paris perfume poisoner grew cold, their disappearance leaving behind a swirl of questions and unanswered riddles. The shadow this figure cast over Paris remained a tantalizing mystery, a story whispered in hushed voices, blending the enchanting with the macabre. The legacy of the perfume poisoner lingered even after they vanished, igniting discussions about art, consumer culture, and the hidden complexities of the luxury industry. Years later, tales of the perfume poisoner would still circulate, a reminder of how easily the lines between beauty and danger can blur, leaving the world forever captivated by the extraordinary story that unsettled the City of Light. The Vatican Library, a treasure trove of history and art, houses an extraordinary collection of manuscripts, books, and documents. This library has been a center of learning and preservation of knowledge for centuries. It is not only a place of research, but also a sanctuary of the world's most precious texts, some dating back to ancient times. However, tucked away within its walls are stories that are perhaps as fascinating as the manuscripts themselves, including a perplexing incident that has left many intrigued: the theft of rare ancient texts from the Vatican's secret archive. The tale begins with history, as the Vatican Library was founded in the 15th century, a time when the Renaissance flourished and the thirst for knowledge soared. The library is renowned for its vast collection of manuscripts from various civilizations, covering a range of subjects including theology, philosophy, history, and science. Among these artifacts are works by some of the greatest minds in history, offering insights into the thoughts and beliefs that shaped our world. Despite the library's impressive security and revered status, rumors began to circulate in the early 2000s about the disappearance of certain manuscripts. The missing texts were not just ordinary books. They included priceless works that had immense historical significance. The items were thought to have been removed under mysterious circumstances, leading to a whirlwind of speculation regarding how this could happen in such a tightly controlled environment. One of the most discussed aspects of this incident pertains to the theory of an inside job. This idea stemmed from the fact that access to the Vatican's secret archives is highly restricted, with only a select number of scholars and researchers permitted entry. These individuals are often required to undergo extensive background checks and are accompanied by staff members to ensure the utmost security. The concept of someone within the Vatican library itself orchestrating the theft has sparked the imagination of many. Could a person driven by greed, perhaps with knowledge of the library's inner workings, have been able to plot such an elaborate heist? It is easy to conjure images of long nights spent studying the habits of security personnel and planning every detail. Thought that someone could possess the audacity to steal from one of the most prestigious institutions in the world is both captivating and alarming. As investigations unfolded, attention turned to the nature of the manuscripts that went missing. These were not just historical texts. They were irreplaceable pieces of cultural heritage tied to the identity of diverse peoples. Their absence left scholars and historians in disbelief and ignited debates about the ethical implications surrounding manuscript preservation and accessibility. How might the loss of these works alter our understanding of history, art, and civilization as we know it? The Vatican Library's officials, keen to restore confidence in the institution's integrity, launched a thorough investigation. Security measures were scrutinized, and protocols were adjusted to fortify the library's defenses against any future transgressions. Yet, within the confines of hushed hallways and darkened reading rooms, whispers of the theft lingered. Stories of hidden passages and secret compartments only fueled the intrigue, urging many to speculate on the hidden mysteries of the Vatican itself. In the years that followed, the Vatican Library became more than just a subject of scholarly interest. It became a focal point of pop culture, inspiring novels, movies, and documentaries. Each narrative spun from the threads of this incident seemed to drift further into the realm of the extraordinary, blending fiction with historical fact and transforming the perception of the Vatican Library into a place not only of reverence but of adventure and intrigue. The stolen manuscripts, now ghostly echoes of their former selves, symbolize a deeper conversation about the preservation of knowledge in an ever-changing world. As societies grapple with the balance between accessibility and security, the tale of the Vatican Library's theft serves as a cautionary reminder of the fragility of history. What may seem secure today could vanish in a heartbeat, challenging scholars and caretakers to remain vigilant. For those enamored with the secrets of the past, the stolen texts continue to hold an aura of enchantment. The mere thought of what insights and revelations might lie within those pages invokes curiosity and inspires a deeper appreciation for the written word. The story challenges all to imagine the countless tales that remain untold and the legacy of knowledge that is worth safeguarding for future generations. The mystery surrounding the theft from the Vatican Library embodies a mix of history, intrigue, and the ever-present desire to preserve what is precious. As the sun sets over the grand structures of the Vatican, the allure of hidden manuscripts continues to enthrall imaginations worldwide, reminding us that behind every door lies a story waiting to be discovered, or perhaps a mystery still to be solved. The Vatican Library stands not only as a guardian of the past, but also as a testament to the endless pursuit of knowledge, its shadows whispering tales of those ancient voices now silenced, yet longing to be heard once more. In the tumultuous backdrop of World War II, amid the whispers of battle and the hum of military engines, a remarkable tale unfolded that has often remained in the shadows of history. This is the story of the Casablanca Cipher Breakers, a group of brilliant minds who took on the audacious task of decrypting secret codes, revealing more than just enemy movements, but also unearthing hidden treasures, the wartime gold shipments that traversed the North African desert. Imagine the vast expanses of sandy dunes and the relentless sun beating down in North Africa. Here, amidst the backdrop of ferocious battles and strategic campaigns, immense shipments of gold were moved under the guise of military operations. These treasures, vital for financing the war effort, were cloaked in layers of encryption that only a few could penetrate. The stakes were high as rival nations sought to control these fortunes, looking to shift the tide of war in their favor. The Casablanca Cipher Breakers were a diverse assemblage of talents, united by their mission. They were not just cryptographers. They were mathematicians, linguists, and even former scholars with the deftness of a magician. Their headquarters, a modest yet spirited space, buzzed with excitement as messages flew in from various fronts. Each deciphered code was like a piece of an intricate puzzle that brought them closer to understanding the enemy's plans and movements. Picture a dimly lit room filled with aged maps pinned to the walls. Tables cluttered with papers display a swirling array of letters, numbers, and symbols. At the center, a determined group of women and men, fueled by strong coffee and unyielding resolve, gathered around a large table. Each day, the cipher breakers tore into new codes with fervor. They knew that every second counted, for the enemy was elusive and cunning. The process of code breaking during this era was nothing short of an art form. The cipher breakers meticulously analyzed patterns, seeking recurring themes, shifts in language, and numerical anomalies. Each breakthrough echoed like a victory in battle, bringing them one step closer to deciphering the intricate web of communications surrounding these gold shipments. It was a race against time, and the confidence in their findings only grew as they honed their skills. As the cipher breakers made progress, they discovered that the enemy often relied on certain phrases and formats, a signature style that became their Achilles heel. For them, revealing troop movements and resupplying arms needed secrecy. Losing track of their encrypted communications proved as hazardous as exposing their battle plans. It was within this tangled ball of deception that the cipher breakers thrived. A riveting aspect of their work was the revelation of specific routes used to transport gold. These shipments, some encased within heavily armored vehicles and others nestled within supply trains, were crucial for bolstering the military efforts on the ground. The cipher breakers deciphered routes that often stretched across treacherous terrains, detailing how these operations were intended to keep the flow of wealth secure. By anticipating these movements, the group could mount strategic initiatives, intercept shipments, or make tactical suggestions to turn the tide. Imagine the moment when one of the cipher breakers laid out a map, highlighting a newly uncovered route. The air would crackle with anticipation as promises of hidden treasures unfolded before their eyes. This wasn't just a matter of understanding the enemy. It also meant that they were in reach of the wealth that could sustain their allies in one of the darkest periods of history. The story of the Casablanca cipher breakers illuminates the collision of intellect and bravery. With each code cracked, they not only uncovered enemy plans, but also charted their determined course toward the confrontation of colossal wartime riches. The gold represented far more than mere currency. It was a lifeline, a means to uphold democracy and restore peace in their war-torn world. The deciphered communications led to numerous successful missions, each significant enough to shift the momentum of warfare. What emerged from the cipher breakers' tireless dedication was a cascade of events that would change the course of history. While they remain less known than the soldiers who fought bravely in the front lines, their contributions were indispensable, shifting the focus from the battlefield to the uncanny world of cryptology, where they wielded an unmatched power. At the heart of their endeavors lay a profound sense of community. Each member brought unique skills to the table. They collaborated, challenged each other, and celebrated their victories, no matter how small. The joy of solving a complex code reverberated through their heads and hearts. They forged friendships and connections that transcended the severe trials they faced outside those walls. The Casablanca cipher breakers were integral cogs in the larger machine of war, their legacy woven into the fabric of a global conflict defined by secrecy and strategic maneuvers. Their efforts in breaking codes helped to pilfer the secrets of adversaries while reclaiming precious gold that could sustain the men and women fighting for a cause much larger than themselves. In conclusion, the tale of the Casablanca cipher breakers serves as a testament to human ingenuity and resilience. It reminds us that in even the darkest times, there are those who operate in the shadows, deciphering the threads of fate and fortune. Their story deserves to be told, illuminating the brilliance of code breaking and the undeniable impact it had on the war, and ultimately on the world we live in today. Their intellectual feats opened doors to both victory on the battlefield and the art of cryptology, merging history with heroism in a most fascinating narrative. In the heart of Milan, where luxury meets tradition, a grand event captures the city's essence each year, the Milan Masked Ball. This glittering occasion, filled with elegance and charm, invites the elite to don intricate masks and lavish costumes, creating an atmosphere of mystery. Among the laughter and music, however, lurked an enigma that would make headlines and baffle authorities for years: the notorious Milan Masked Ball burglary. Picture the scene: the opulent halls of historic palaces, adorned with crystal chandeliers, tables laden with gourmet delicacies, and the soft sound of string quartets weaving through the air. Attendees are dressed in sumptuous gowns and tailored suits, their identities concealed behind elaborate masks. It is a night of glamour, but also one that has become synonymous with theft and intrigue. As the masks obscure faces, they also shield the identities of clever thieves who seem to slip seamlessly into the festivities. The allure of the Milan Masked Ball has attracted not only the city's elite, but also those with less noble intentions. Over the years, a series of audacious burglaries took place, each more perplexing than the last. High-profile jewels disappeared without a trace, vanishing from their owners' necks, ears, or wrists. A diamond necklace, sparkling under the ball's soft lights, could suddenly turn into a mere memory. For the guests, the evening shifted from enchantment to sheer confusion as they realized their valuables had seemingly evaporated. What made these heists so uniquely captivating was the sheer charisma of the perpetrators. Each thief, hidden behind their mask, could blend in while maintaining an air of sophistication. They seemed to dance through the crowds, engaging in polite conversation, while engineering thefts so seamless they could only be described as artistry. The glittering masks of the masquerade served as both a symbol of disguise and a perfect cover for crime. As news of the burglary spread, a sense of intrigue enveloped the city. Authorities launched investigations, but detectives soon found that unraveling the mystery was no simple task. Witnesses were often left in a state of bewilderment, unable to provide detailed descriptions after the chaos of the night. Who could pinpoint a face when it was obscured under an ornate mask? The charm and mystery of the event became a double-edged sword, It fueled speculation while making it almost impossible to ascertain a definitive lid. Each year, as the next masquerade approached, excitement mingled with trepidation. Would the fragile balance between revelry and robbery continue? Social circles began to buzz not just about the latest fashions or beautiful gowns, but also about the upcoming ball's safety. Could this be the year the elusive burglars would return? The intrigue captivated journalists, with articles discussing theories and diving into the undercurrents of criminal minds. How did they select their targets? What prior knowledge might they have had? Fascination grew around the aura of mystery that surrounded these heists. As months turned into years, the burglaries became somewhat of a folkloric tale intertwined with Milan's culture. Discussions would often link the masked revelers of today with the historical figures of the past who wore masks for both celebration and secrecy. It turned into a story of cat and mouse, with the city on alert, yet unable to reveal the identity of those who danced with abandon while committing theft. Amidst the grandiosity, the balls evolved into vibrant tapestries of artistic expression. Designers curated spectacular themes each year, complete with extravagant venues and performances that dazzled attendees. Yet in the backdrop, whispers lingered of thieves moving through the shadows, biding their time, patiently awaiting the night of masked revelry to strike again. This evolving legend of the Milan masked ball burglaries has ushered forth tales of unexpected heroism, too. Some guests became vigilant, banding together to keep watch over one another's valuables, creating a bond among strangers that transcended the evening's superficial engagements. They forged friendships within the realm of uncertainty, a reminder of the resilience of the human spirit, even in the face of fear. As the years rolled on, law enforcement agencies upped their game with enhanced security measures, implementation of surveillance, and undercover operations during the masquerade. Yet, the allure remained potent, pulling in guests who thrived on the excitement of the night and the age-old tradition of indulgence. The double layer of beauty and risk became part of the alluring fabric of Milan life. In essence, the magic of the Milan masked ball is a sinuous twist of charm and enigma. The charm allures the sophisticated elite, while the enigma keeps everyone guessing. Could it be that the masked burglars were not just thieves, but performers in a complex story, teetering between the realms of crime and culture? The Milan masked ball burglaries live on, a unique chapter in the city's history, a blend of wealth, art, and the enticement of the unknown that continues to be told and retold, luring participants into a world where decorum flourishes amidst the thrill of the chase. In recent years, Mumbai has become synonymous with monsoons, a season known for its heavy torrential rains, which often disrupt daily life and create chaotic scenarios. However, in a striking turn of events, the monsoon season also brought about an elaborate scam that left many in shock. This is the story of the Mumbai monsoon bank scam, where con artists took advantage of the weather and impersonated disaster workers to exploit the vulnerabilities of banking systems. Every year, the monsoon rains transform the bustling metropolis of Mumbai into a city of puddles and rivers. As the skies open up, the streets often become hard to navigate. In this climate of uncertainty and urgency, the city's residents look to various agencies for assistance. During these chaotic conditions, it seems that some individuals saw an opportunity to exploit panic for personal gain. The scam was orchestrated with a level of sophistication that was quite surprising. The perpetrators cleverly disguised themselves as disaster relief workers, donning uniforms and carrying equipment that would typically be seen in emergency situations. This allowed them to blend seamlessly into the surroundings, garnering immediate trust from bank employees and customers alike. During the heavy rains, emergency protocols were triggered at various institutions. The monsoon brought with it not only water, but also a sense of urgency to secure valuables. Many banks became inundated with concerns about rising water levels and the safety of their assets. This was the perfect backdrop for the scammers, who thrived on the chaos that the monsoon season typically creates. Using fake identification and plausible stories about needing to access vaults for emergency precautions, they gained entry to several banking facilities. This became easier as many bank workers, overwhelmed and eager to protect the assets of their clients, were too quick to trust these imposters. The scammers exploited the prevailing confusion and fear by playing on the genuine concern for safety. Once inside, they executed their plan with precision. In some cases, vaults that were typically sealed were opened under the pretext of moving assets to safer locations. As bank employees focused on minimizing risk during the extreme weather conditions, the con artists took significant advantage of the situation and made off with millions. The aftershock of the scam reverberated throughout the financial community and raised many questions. How could trained professionals be so easily deceived? The answer lies in the unique circumstances presented during the monsoon season. The unusual stress and urgency shifted focus, allowing a well-prepared scammer to maneuver with ease. While the scam created financial loss for many, it also sparked a conversation about the importance of security and vigilance in times of crisis. Financial institutions were prompted to reevaluate their emergency protocols and strengthen their identification processes. In an age where even the most secure systems can be vulnerable, it became clear that vigilance is essential, especially during tumultuous times. As the rains poured down, it became apparent that nature's fury was not the only threat to consider. The Mumbai monsoon bank scam serves as a cautionary tale, highlighting how crisis situations can reveal not just weaknesses, but also the ingenious creativity of those looking to exploit circumstances for their benefit. In the end, the repercussions of the scam forced banks to reinforce their security measures, providing training to employees on recognizing deception, even in high-stress environments. The event has an echoing reminder of the necessity for preparedness, no matter the situation. Such lessons become particularly pertinent in environments where trust and urgency meet, illustrating the complex interplay between human behavior under pressure and vulnerability to deceit. The Mumbai monsoon bank scam is a vivid example of how disasters, both natural and man-made, can expose not only the fragility of our systems, but also the resilience required to combat dishonesty. It reminds us always to be alert, even amid the storm, striking a balance between compassion for those working to help during crises and vigilance against those who wish to take advantage of the chaos. This story will remain a case study in the annals of financial crimes, teaching future generations about the fine line between trust and caution, and the necessity of safeguarding one's assets in a world where the unexpected can happen at any moment, regardless of the weather outside. The Mumbai Monsoon Bank scam truly embodies the complexities of human nature and the lengths to which some will go, especially when the conditions are ripe for deception. In the realm of ancient narratives, few tales captivate the imagination quite like that of the Icelandic Saga scroll theft. This dramatic incident, which unfolded against the backdrop of Reykjavik's tranquil archives, encapsulates not just the loss of invaluable manuscripts, but also ignites a diverse array of theories about their potential whereabouts. The Saga scrolls represent a rich tapestry, woven with the history, culture, and legends of the Viking Age and their disappearance has sparked an outpouring of fascination, intrigue, and speculation. The Icelandic sagas are renowned for blending history with storytelling. These manuscripts, penned in the Old Norse language, offer vivid accounts of the lives and adventures of the Norse gods and heroes, as well as the everyday life of Viking settlers in Iceland, comprising tales of bravery, exploration, and the intricate relationships within families and communities. These sagas serve not only as entertainment, but also as valuable historical documents. For scholars and enthusiasts alike, their significance cannot be overstated. In the heart of Reykjavik, the archives where these manuscripts were housed stood as a repository of Iceland's cultural heritage. Researchers often visited these archives, carefully studying the delicate scrolls, each a portal to a bygone era. The day the news broke about the theft sent ripples of shock through the community. It was not merely a theft. It represented the loss of history, the silencing of voices from centuries past. The scrolls were a bridge to a time when the world was vastly different, yet filled with tales that resonate even today. As the news spread, speculation ignited about who could be behind this brazen act. Some pointed fingers at international collectors, driven by the allure of rare artifacts. These collectors, known for their insatiable appetite for unique historical items, often operate in shadows, navigating a world where the thrill of ownership eclipses the importance of preservation. Could it be that these manuscripts were whisked away to adorn private collections, hidden from the public eye? The idea alone sent a shiver of concern through cultural custodians and historians alike. Then, there were whispers of more nefarious motives. Some theorists suggested that the manuscripts could have been spirited away by illicit organizations looking to profit from their sale on the black market. The world of art and cultural artifacts is rife with tales of similar schemes, where priceless pieces are traded clandestinely for vast sums of money. The concept of precious Viking heirlooms being reduced to mere commodities is a bitter pill to swallow for those who understand their true value. As detectives and officials delved into the investigation, new avenues of thought emerged. Could this be an inside job? The archives were not only a treasure trove of manuscripts, but also a hub for scholars and researchers, some of whom may have developed a personal interest in specific scroll. The tight-knit community had its share of rivalries, and jealousy could potentially manifest in unusual ways. The idea that someone from within could exploit the system to serve their agenda was a chilling consideration. In an age of technology, the theft also raised questions about security measures surrounding cultural artifacts. How could a theft of this magnitude occur in a place where the history of a nation's identity is safeguarded? It provoked dialogue around the need for enhanced protections, not just in Iceland, but globally. The incident became a touching point for many, prompting a revaluation of how society values and protects its history. Amid all this speculation, one fact remained undeniably clear. The threads of the stolen sagas extended beyond the manuscripts themselves. They touched upon the very essence of cultural identity, the stories that shaped a nation, and the importance of preserving these pivotal narratives for generations to come. The Viking sagas not only narrate the past, but also inform the present and offer a legacy for future discovery. Public interest spiked dramatically following the theft. People from all walks of life, drawn to the drama, began to join in the search for answers. Social media buzzed with hashtags, discussions fostered across platforms, bringing together amateur sleuths and historians. As conversations flourished, so did theories, each contributing a unique perspective on what may have happened to these invaluable scrolls. In the backdrop of Iceland's majestic landscapes, which include glaciers, geysers and volcanoes. There was a longing for the return of these pieces of history. It was a reminder of how intertwined the land and its stories were, with each saga echoing through the winds, calling for reparation. For the people of Iceland, the incident was not just about lost scrolls. It was about lost narratives that held the country's collective memory. As detectives continued their efforts and international conversations unfolded, the saga of the theft turned into a modern-day folklore narrative itself. Just as sagas were crafted to pass time around fires, the tale of the scroll's disappearance was spun in cafes, homes, and social gatherings. Its intrigue united a nation and anyone with a passion for history or a fondness for stories of adventure and mystery. Through it all, the hope remains that one day the saga scrolls will re-emerge, bringing with them all the stories they were meant to tell. The theft has undoubtedly cast a shadow on the archives of Reykjavik, yet it has also kindled an unstoppable spirit of preservation, awareness, and passion for Iceland's unparalleled literary heritage. The world watches and wonders, each person a participant in an ongoing narrative, forever captivated by the allure of history, mystery, and the profound stories that bind us all. In the heart of Istanbul, where history thrives in the echoes of ancient empires, a tale of deception and artistry unfolds. The story centers around the captivating Byzantine mosaics that adorn numerous historical sites, weaving intricate narratives of faith, culture, and magnificence. These mosaics, characterized by their shimmering golds and vibrant colors, represent centuries of craftsmanship and devotion. However, beneath their beauty lies a shadowy world of art forgery, where master forgers embarked on an audacious plan to swap entire sections of these irreplaceable artworks. As the sun rises over the city and casts its warm glow on the Hagia Sophia, visitors marvel at the stunning mosaics that tell stories of Christianity, depicting figures such as the Virgin Mary and various saints. With each glance at these marvelous creations, one can sense the weight of history they carry. Yet, unbeknownst to many, a significant number of these pieces have been touched by a different kind of artistry, one crafted not from reverence, but from greed. Unraveling this saga involves understanding the artistry behind Byzantine mosaics. Composed of thousands of tiny, meticulously arranged pieces of colored glass and stone, these mosaics require immense skill and expertise to create. They not only reflect artistic brilliance, but also serve as a testament to the era's cultural values. As centuries passed, many of these mosaics began to decay, leading to restoration efforts aimed at preserving their beauty. Unfortunately, this desire to maintain the artwork opened a door for deception. The master forgers, operating in the shadows, recognized an opportunity where others saw degradation. They meticulously studied the techniques and materials used by original artists, gaining a deep understanding of the mosaic's structure. This provided them with invaluable knowledge that would make their forgeries nearly indistinguishable from the originals. By swapping sections, they introduced their replicas into churches and museums, while the genuine pieces were smuggled out to secret buyers around the globe. Consider the audacity of transferring such monumental works of art. The forgers employed a network of accomplices, traders, restorers, and art dealers, who facilitated the smuggling and transactions. They danced through customs and borders with a mix of charm and cunning, using fake documents to mask the true value of their cargo. Each successful swap brought in not only financial reward, but a thrill that only a masterful con can bring, a complex web of deceit that highlights the darker side of the art world. The exposed stories of those who sought the original mosaics reveal a layer of intrigue and fascination. Wealthy collectors, eager to possess a piece of history, often turn a blind eye to the ethical dilemmas surrounding art acquisition. They become obsessed with owning a fragment of the glorious past, regardless of how it reached them. The allure of genuine Byzantine art is intoxicating, drawing them into a world where authenticity and morality clash. As these master forgers thrived, the art world began to shift. Experts and historians became suspicious, sparking investigations into the origins of various mosaics. With modern technology, such as infrared scanning and chemical analysis, the truth behind these beautiful works of art started to surface. The details of the forger's techniques emerged under scrutiny, challenging the perceptions of authenticity that had persisted for centuries. This battle between art and forgery captivates the imagination, pulling it into a realm where beauty and truth entwine in a dangerous dance. A deeper understanding develops, not just about the mosaics themselves, but about human nature's desire to possess what cannot be owned. The very essence of the masterpieces is intertwined with the emotions and aspirations of those who have sought them, whether in reverence or greed. In recent years, efforts to safeguard the remaining original pieces have intensified. Many historical sites are implementing stricter regulations and transparency in acquisitions, aiming to ensure the integrity of their collections. As these proactive measures continue, the world watches closely, curious to witness how history will navigate through the haze of deception that has marred its artistic treasures. The tale of the Istanbul mosaic swindle is not merely one of theft. It speaks volumes about the complex relationship between art, culture, and commerce. Each mosaic, regardless of its origin, carries the voices of the past, urging conversations about ethics in art history. This brings forth contemplation about the value of an artwork, whether it lies in the material itself or in the stories and histories it embodies. In Istanbul, the intricate beauty of Byzantine mosaics remains a testament to the creativity and passion that once flourished. However, the shadows of art forgery linger, reminding us that while the past may be preserved in vivid colors and gleaming gold, the stories intertwined with these artifacts are as much a part of their legacy as the artistry itself. In the heart of Vienna, a city famous for its rich cultural heritage and exquisite wines, an extraordinary event was unfolding. The grand hall of a historic palace was elegantly adorned, with sparkling chandeliers casting a warm glow over a meticulously decorated space. Guests, clad in their finest attire, were immersed in the graceful rhythms of the Vienna waltz. It was an opulent gala, celebrating the city's artistic grandeur and, more specifically, its unparalleled wine heritage. Among the prized possessions on display that evening were several bottles of rare centuries-old wines, each with its own tale of origin and history. These wines were not merely beverages, they were artifacts, with stories woven into the very fabric of Vienna's culture. A bottle from the 18th century could recount the lavish parties of aristocrats, while a vintage from the 19th century might speak of the innovations that reshaped the wine world. Each bottle was a treasure, an essence of time captured in glass, and the gala had attracted connoisseurs, collectors, and thrill-seekers alike. As the evening progressed, the ambience buzzed with excitement. The air was filled with laughter, the soft clinking of glasses, and the enchanting sounds of music played by a live orchestra. Guests twirled and swayed to the waltz, their movements almost hypnotic, captivating everyone in the room. The elegance of the waltzing couples created an atmosphere brimming with romance and grandeur, drawing the attention of all present. Yet, amidst the swirling gowns and polished shoes, danced a different kind of intrigue. As the rhythm of the music swept through the hall, a small group of individuals stood on the fringes of the dance floor, their eyes glinting with calculation. They were not there to enjoy the evening's festivities, but rather to execute a meticulously planned operation that would leave a lasting mark on Vienna's wine legacy. As one couple twirled gracefully about the room, the team of thieves sprung into action. While the guests were lost in the beauty of the dance, these skilled connoisseurs and crafty tricksters began to move with precision toward the display of wines. Disguised as attendees, they navigated through the crowd effortlessly, their hearts beating in tune with the music surrounding them. To an untrained eye, they appeared to be just another part of the gala's allure. The strategy was simple, yet brilliant. They capitalized on the distraction that the waltz provided, knowing that the more spectacular the performance, the less attention the crowd would pay to the wine display. They presented themselves as fellow enthusiasts, complimenting the aesthetics of the bottles and engaging in innocent conversations with other guests. The thieves exchanged knowing glances, calculating the moments when the excitement of the dance would peak. With each crescendo of the music, they moved closer to their goal. The display of exquisite wines was tantalizingly close now, each bottle gleaming under the lights. With movements that were as fluid as the majestic waltz, they concocted a diversion that would allow one of them to slip behind the curtain of the display. It was here that the real heist would take place, a swift exchange of the valuable wines with expertly crafted fakes. The seconds ticked away as the waltz continued, inviting everyone to become lost in its charm. One of the thieves subtly began to swap the real bottles with the counterfeit ones he had cleverly prepared. These replicas were astonishingly convincing and almost indistinguishable from the genuine artifacts. All the while, the dance seemed to reach its zenith, the climactic energy of the music wrapping around the room. Just as the waltz reached its peak, an unexpected twist added to the excitement of the evening. The orchestra played a medley that captured the essence of Vienna's culture, prompting more laughter and applause. This was the moment the thieves had anticipated, their chance to complete the switch unnoticed amid the joyful chaos. By the time the music began to slow and the dancers glided into a gentle finish, the thieves melted back into the crowd. The real treasures now hidden among the fakes, they blended into the celebratory atmosphere, feeling the thrill of a successful caper. Meanwhile, the masterfully disguised impostors continued to engage, sharing toasts and laughter with unsuspecting guests. As the night drew to a close, the guests began to disperse, oblivious to the subtle exchange that had taken place right under their noses. The gala would go down in history, not just for the beauty of the dance or the elegance of the crowd, but as a legendary heist that had challenged the elite world of wine collectors. In the end, the thieves left the grand hall with their loot, spirits high, as they flowed through the streets of Vienna, blending into the night. They carried with them not just bottles, but a story that would be whispered about for years to come, a tale of deception, artistry, and the timeless waltz that provided the perfect backdrop for an unforgettable night of intrigue. In the heart of Oslo, Norway, stands the Munch Museum, an institution dedicated to the life and works of Edvard Munch, one of Europe's most iconic artists. Known primarily for his compelling and emotional pieces, such as The Scream, Munch's artwork is not just a collection of canvases, but a representation of human experience, frailty, and passion. Unfortunately, the museum's dedication to preserving Munch's legacy was put to the ultimate test in a notorious event that shook the art world, the break-in at the Munch Museum. On a chilling day in August 2004, the Munch Museum became the scene of a dramatic heist. Just as crowds were beginning to gather for a special exhibition, two masked men stormed into the museum, brandishing firearms and demanding the staff and visitors to the ground. In mere minutes, the thieves executed a meticulously planned operation, making off with two invaluable paintings, The Scream and Madonna. The audacity of this high-profile breach stunned not only those present, but also the entire nation and art world. The stolen works were not just any paintings. The Scream, which has captured the existential angst of humanity, is considered one of the most famous images in the history of art. Similarly, Madonna, with its haunting embrace of beauty and sorrow, exemplifies Munch's unique ability to delve into the depths of the human spirit. Each painting was not only a work of art, but also a piece of cultural heritage, representing decades of creativity and emotional exploration. In the immediate aftermath of the heist, Oslo was engulfed in a frenzy of speculation. Law enforcement launched an intense investigation, employing a vast array of resources, from special task forces to the local community. The world was watching as the Munch Museum, a beacon of artistic pride, became a complex puzzle that had to be solved. Despite the police's exemplary efforts, the trail went cold, and the paintings remained missing for several years. As time passed, the story of the theft turned into a modern legend, capturing the imaginations of art enthusiasts and conspiracy theorists alike. The absence of such prominent pieces ignited discussions about art security and the black market for stolen artworks. Rumors circulated about the location of the paintings, with some saying they were hidden away in dark corners of society, while others speculated they were lost forever. Then, just when it seemed the stolen masterpieces would never see the light of day again, fate intervened in an extraordinary twist of events. In 2006, 2 years after the heist, the paintings resurfaced unexpectedly when they were discovered by the police in a sting operation. The recovery of The Scream and Madonna not only restored significant pieces of art history to the Munch Museum, but also rekindled hope for the art community all around the world. The paintings had been returned after a series of exchanges and negotiations, ultimately revealing the intricate network of dealings surrounding stolen art. Once back home in Oslo, the paintings were thoroughly examined and restored to ensure they maintained their original splendor despite the trauma they had faced. The Munch Museum celebrated their return with fanfare, signaling a revival of interest in Edvard Munch and his profound emotional landscapes. Visitors flocked to see the artworks again, marveling at the resilience of the pieces that had endured not just the ravages of time, but also the chaos of human actions. This incident raised awareness about the importance of art preservation and security. Discussions about safeguarding valuable works became paramount. Museums worldwide took note of what transpired at the Munch Museum, instigating changes in security protocols, better protective measures, and innovative technologies aimed at thwarting future breaches. The art world leaned heavily into discussions surrounding ethics, provenance, and the value of cultural investment, leading to a more profound understanding of the fragile relationship between art and its guardians. In hindsight, the daring break-in and subsequent recovery of the paintings tell a compelling story of human passion for art, the lengths some will go to for their desires, and the unyielding spirit of cultural heritage. While the theft exposed vulnerabilities, it also led to heightened appreciation and respect for the works of Edvard Munch. His canvases are more than mere representations. They encapsulate a journey through complexity and emotion, forever inviting us to ponder life's intricacies. The legacy of the Munch Museum now stands not only as a custodian of important artworks, but also as a symbol of resilience against adversity. The tale of The Scream and Madonna continues to resonate with audiences, reminding us that even amidst chaos, human creativity shines brightly, worthy of our admiration and protection. The art remains a testament to the enduring nature of expression and the power art has to evoke, inspire, and sometimes attract the shadows of one's desires. Thus, the Oslo Munch Museum, fortified by its past, looks toward the future, ready to continue sharing the profound messages embedded in the works of Edvard Munch. In the realm of maritime myths and treasures, the shoreline whispers tales of sunken ships, lost fortunes, and the adventurers who dream of rediscovering them. One of the more captivating chapters in this intriguing saga is the story of the sunken Spanish galleon scam, where con artists orchestrated a clever deception that entranced treasure hunters for decades. Picture, if you will, the allure of the Spanish galleons, grand vessels adorned with gold and silver, sailing from the New World back to Europe, laden with treasures of unimaginable wealth. These ships were the pride of the 16th and 17th centuries, known for their riches, which included gold coins, precious jewels, and artifacts crafted by skilled artisans. However, many of these galleons met their fate in the waters of the Caribbean during storms, pirate attacks, or naval combat, leaving behind their treasures hidden beneath the waves. Over the years, tales of these sunken ships became enshrined in legend, captivating the imaginations of treasure hunters all over the world. Among these seekers of fortune, a small band of con artists saw an opportunity. They tapped into the dreams and aspirations of individuals eager to unearth treasure, spinning elaborate tales of hidden galleons and lost salvage rights. These scammers would often claim they held exclusive rights to salvage certain shipwrecks through fabricated documents or connections to supposed governmental authorities. They painted an enticing picture, promising that those who believed in their scheme could share in the future bounty of gold and silver. One of the most prominent figures in this elaborate charade was a man named Alex. With charming charisma and a penchant for storytelling, he captivated his audience. Alex would approach unsuspecting treasure hunters, people driven by the lure of wealth, and regale them with accounts of shipwrecks laden with treasures waiting just below the ocean's surface. To bolster his credibility, he produced documents that appeared official, complete with stamps and signatures of made-up authorities, that insisted he held the rights to salvage operations of legendary galleons. What made this con particularly insidious was the meticulous planning behind it. Not only were the documents fabricated, but Alex would often bring along fake charts and maps detailing the supposed locations of these sunken galleons. These hand-drawn maps, filled with cryptic symbols and markers, were designed to spark intrigue and excitement, leading treasure hunters to believe they were on the brink of a monumental discovery. The allure of potential riches blinded many to the red flags. Some individuals who had invested in these schemes included seasoned professionals who had successfully hunted treasure before. The desire to find the next big haul can make anyone susceptible to persuasion. In many cases, the victims were people with little experience who had gotten caught up in the thrill of the treasure hunting world and lacked the means to verify their plans. They invested not only their money, but also their hopes and dreams into unraveling the tales spun by con artists. As the stories circulated, many hopeful hunters formed clubs and organized expeditions under the misguided belief that they were destined to find the hidden treasures. Some went further, investing in expensive diving equipment, ships, and preparation for potential salvage operation. To many, the thought of finding a ship filled with gold was worth any risk, and they overlooked the warning signs of a scam. For a while, it seemed that Alex and his cohorts were going to succeed in creating a new age of treasure exploration. They developed an intricate network, building alliances with other con artists to expand their reach. They held seminars to educate aspiring treasure hunters, further establishing their credibility and raising funds through ticket sales and merchandise. It became a circle of deceit that fed off itself, where the promise of riches offered by one charlatan fueled the ambitions of another. However, as time passed and treasure seekers began to realize there were no actual sunken galleons in sight, the scam started to unravel. More victims began to compare notes, and tales of shared losses came to light. Tools of the trade, like the maps and documents, were exposed as forgery. The momentum shifted as former hopefuls turned against their deceivers, sparking investigations into the shady dealings of the con artists. Once the truth emerged, it cast a harsh light on the treasure hunting community, marking a turning point for how potential exploits were structured and investigated. Regulations emerged, and prospective treasure hunters became more cautious, leaning towards verified stories and opportunities backed by legitimate sources. Meanwhile, those who perpetrated the sunken Spanish galleon scam faced legal consequences, with many receiving penalties for fraud. The legacy of this elaborate scheme serves as a cautionary tale about the power of dreams and the lengths people will go to chase them. While treasure hunting continues to captivate the hearts and minds of dreamers, the sunken Spanish galleon scam reminds us of the importance of discernment. For every shimmering lure of treasure that beckons from the depths, there lies a need for vigilance, integrity, and a discerning eye for authenticity. So the next time you hear stories of treasures lost to time, remember the tales not only of gold, silver, and riches beneath the waves, but also of human ambition. In the quest for something greater, one must tread carefully on the fine line between hope and deception. The echoes of the past linger on, shaping the ambitions of today's treasure seekers as they traverse the waters of possibility, armed with the lessons learned from those who came before them.